is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Why do we watch the chase? Because it always comes down to this, to the basic rules of the road. Race hard, drive fast, focus on the finish line. When the race for this national treasure is on the line, there can be only one champion. It's all so simple, just track and tires, fuel and fire. Every man for himself. Two friends pushing themselves to the limit of endurance and patience.
If he's gonna want me like that, he's giving me no choice.
But the past is the past, because at these speeds, there is no time but the present. What will it be? A late season streak for a repeat?
Dude, you are incredible. Awesome job today. Good job.
Or a run from behind into history? The one thing that is certain is that we never know what's up ahead. That's the first and most basic rule of the road. And that's why we watch the chase for the Nextel Cup.
You are looking live at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, the only two drivers to have survived the grueling chase for the Nextel Cup. One of them will hoist the trophy tonight as Ford Championship weekend culminates with the Ford 400. 14,000 miles, folks, and we've come down to the final 400. Each driver started the year at Daytona hoping to hoist that Nextel trophy, and now we have come down to the final two. 86 points separates teammates and good friends Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. But let's be honest, it is Jimmy Johnson's Nextel Cup to lose. In fact, the end of this season has been one of the greatest ever. He has won 4 consecutive NASCAR races in the thick of the chase, and he's going for number 5. Folks, he's starting to walk with the legends, but this is racing. Anything can happen. Let's take you back to last season now. Johnson came here with a 63-point lead. It took just 16 laps for trouble to hit. Red tape covered a hole in Johnson's grill after he run over some debris. Later, lug nut issues in the pits sent him toward the back of the field, but in the end, Johnson earned his title, but not without drama. We could have more here today. And Susie Carver, anything can happen. Tell us about the wild turn of events we've already witnessed here this weekend.
It was Friday night, and it sure looked like Mike Skinner was the favorite to win the Craftsman Truck Series title. He came in with a 29-point lead and was in a familiar spot, leading when on lap 74, his left rear wheel flew off, temporarily knocking him out of the race and opening the door for Ron Hornaday. Hornaday won his first truck title since 1998. Skinner finished 35th out of 36 spots. That's an 83-point swing, and that's why we say it's not over till it's over. Well, welcome into the pit studio, Susie Culver, Rusty Wallace, Brad Daugherty. Jimmy Johnson has been talking all week about trying to keep that nervousness at bay. So here he is on Friday. He wins the pole. Check that one off. On Saturday, fastest and happy hour, so check that one off. But Rusty, 1989, you came into the last race with a 73-point lead. What was that like?
It was the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. I really was. I had a great qualifying run. I started 4th. The late Dale Sr. started 3rd. I'm racing him for the title. The car is flying. All of a sudden, the lug nuts come loose. I hit pit road, lose 2 laps. I go back in the racetrack, the lug nuts come loose again. I lose another lap. All of a sudden, I see the thing flying away. I asked my team, what have I got to do to get this thing back? He said, you're 21st, you need to finish 16th. I'm picking another one up. I'm picking another one up. I'm picking another one up. They hollered at the radio and said, you got it. But you know what? We only got it by 12 points.
Yeah, you're celebrating there, but white knuckles.
Oh, man, was I nervous. It was unbelievable. I can only imagine what Jimmy Johnson's going through right now. now.
Well, Brad, you've spent time around Jimmy this weekend, so what are your impressions of how he's handling the pressure?
Well, it's been very impressive from the standpoint he's been very honest about his emotions, the nervousness and everything leading up to this week. He's tried to put it on the back burner. He's tried to distract himself. But he says, hey, every time that I think that I have something captured, whether it's been throughout my motorcycle career or whatever, it always comes back to bite me. So I'm preparing just like I'm going out to win this race. I'm going to drive as hard as I possibly can, but I'm going to drive within the limits of the race car. I will not overdrive the race car. But he's just been refreshingly honest.
All right, so he's been smart, and here's what has to happen for Jimmy to lock it up. Number one, if he finishes 18th or better, he wins the title no matter what Jeff Gordon does. Jimmy can finish 19th if he leads a lap, 21st if he leads the most laps. He also wins if Gordon finishes 15th or worse. And yesterday, Gordon said, I know last weekend I said it's over. That doesn't mean we're going to stop fighting. The pressure here is so monumental, and it's clear why. Now, we know Jimmy is going for 5 in a row, but nobody has ever finished the season by winning more than 2 in a row. So give us some historical perspective. If Jimmy Johnson can win this race today,
it's very, very likely he's going to win this race today. And if we think about it, in 05, he probably should have won the championship that year. 52 points coming into here, and he had a blown tire. But it puts him in the rarefied air. And I'm talking about Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Sr., and also his boss, Jeff Gordon. It puts him in that same company as far as accomplishment.
Brad, this guy can win the final race and make it 5 in a row, Susie, that's for sure. I mean, will he go that hard and try for it? We don't know yet. But you know, this team has won 10 races this year. And to do that in this style of competition is just unheard of. It really is.
Well, that's the key. What do you think the odds are? Because he and Chad Knaus have really gone for it in every one of these chase races, that they stick with the same driving style or change it up a little bit.
I think he's got to change it up a little bit. I don't think he can be so aggressive and go for it right now. I mean, he just needs to drive this car smart, and he needs to pretend there's landmines all over the racetrack and avoid them all day long. If he hits one of them, he could lose this thing, and Jeff Gordon's going to win it. But he's got to be very careful.
We'll hear from Jimmy Johnson down on the grid in just a little bit. And 4 hours from now, another Homestead-Miami championship moment. Either Jimmy or Jeff will be crowned here. 2002, Tony Stewart led Mark Martin by 89 points entering the season finale. Martin finished 4th, Stewart 18th, but Smoke hung on to win his first title. Little drama in 2003. Matt Kenseth had mathematically clinched as he was officially declared the final champion of the Winston era at Homestead. In 2004, Kurt Busch won the first ever chase in the closest points finish in series history, just 8 points over Jimmy Johnson. In 05, Roush Racing had 5 drivers in the chase, but they couldn't keep Tony Stewart from winning his 2nd championship in 4 years. And last year, it was Johnson who overcame a 156-point deficit in the final 6 races to capture his first championship. Now, somewhat overshadowed all the championship celebrations, Greg Biffle has won here at Homestead-Miami the last 3 years in a row, and he is with Dave Burns.
Yeah, Susie, that's the pre-Thanksgiving tradition everyone forgets about. Who cares who wins the championship? Greg Biffle wins Homestead. This weekend, you have the worst starting spot, however, in the last few years here. How do you come from the back here and keep the tradition alive?
Well, definitely, you know, where we qualify doesn't reflect what kind of car we have. I got loose getting down in there turn 1, and, you know, we had a car that probably qualified in the top 15, so feel bad about that. You know, we just didn't have the setup, but the car's really fast. I think we can come from the back, you know, maybe 2-tire stop at the beginning of the race, get some track position, and, you know, it pays the money when the sun goes down and toward the end of the race, the track gets fast, and I think our car is set up for that. At least that's what I've done the last couple of years, so we'll see if it works out tonight.
We'll look for the 16 at the end of the race. If he wins here, it'll be his 4th in a row. And Brent, no one's won 4 in a row at the same track since Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. And still ahead in this season of change. We'll add insight to the big challenges faced by Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we head toward 2008. But before we do that, folks, let's put a bow and tie up 36 races. 9 months. It is the longest season of any professional sport in the United States. But you know, each weekend on the NASCAR circuit is so unique. Such drama, emotion, and you talk about amazing pictures.
NASCAR Countdown on ABC. Brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
Monday night Night Football on ESPN continues in the thin air, a mile high, as Vince Young leads the Titans into battle against Jay Cutler and the Broncos. Both teams still in the hunt for division leads. Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Busch finale here last night, Ford 300. Richard Childress Racing took the owner's title as soon as the number 29 took green. Halfway through the race on pit row, take a look at this. A crew member for Kelly Byers narrowly misses getting hit by two cars. Look at this again. This is amazing that he jumps right between them. The final lap, Jeff Burton, the number 29, leading, and Burton holds off Mark Martin to win. And talk about ending on a high note. Burton's 5th Busch win of the season, the exclamation point for RCR. Also, the end for Anheuser-Busch, their 26-year sponsorship. Carl Edwards would finish in 4th. He is the Busch Series champ as he does the backflip and hoists the trophy. A Ford Championship weekend at Homestead-Miami Speedway marks the finale for all the NASCAR series, and lots of goodbyes to acknowledge today. Beginning with NASCAR's Iron Man, Ricky Rudd will climb out of his car for the final time after a 32-year career, 906 starts, 23 wins. The 1977 Rookie of the Year holds the record for consecutive starts with 788. After a 25-year run, about 600 models of the old car will be obsolete. They can't be converted to COTs, so some will be sold to ARCA teams and the like, but at a huge loss. Petty Enterprises is donating some to universities with engineering programs. Tony Stewart and his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates say so long to Chevy. After 16 years, they'll be driving Toyota Camrys next year. Kyle Busch takes his last turns in the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports. His future is in the number 18 for Gibbs. So goodbye, Tony the Tiger, and hello, M&M's. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., surely the most emotional farewell to the Red Budweiser number 8 and DEI, the team his father founded. So much more than simply stepping out of a car for the last time. And chances of a fairy tale ending don't look good. Like Kyle Petty, Robbie Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Ryan Newman, it's been a long time since his last win. Dale Jr. has finished 23rd or worse in 4 of the last 6, and his last top 10 was the end of September at Kansas. Last week, he was last after a crash at Phoenix, his 9th DNF of the season. But more than anything, it's about moving on. Dale Jr. is with Alan Bestwick.
He is behind the stage awaiting driver introductions now. Susie, Junior, I'm curious, happy, sad, thoughts, emotions on the day of your last ride with the only team you've ever driven for professionally.
Yeah, we haven't really been looking forward to this day, but you know, we'll worry about all that when the race is over with. But I just want to get a couple minutes to say thanks to them guys when it's over. I want to thank all the employees back at DEI that are watching for everything they ever did for me and to get me where I am today. And all the hard work that we all went through, and all their families. Just really appreciate everything they gave me over the last several years. But we got to think about this race and get this race in and do the best we can. Concentrate on it. We got a great chance, a good driving car, and hopefully we can have some fun before it's over with.
Thanks for the time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Dale Jr.'s got to start at the back today, but he'll go out trying to win, Susie.
He sure will. And Junior has admitted to the so many what-ifs if his dad was still alive. But Brad, here we are. Season's just about over. What's your most lasting memory?
Well, the whole distraction with the DEI situation. It started out being a business dealing, and then all of a sudden it became a family issue, and we got involved, and everyone's choosing sides. And I think the person who's been most inaccurately portrayed in all this is Teresa Earnhardt. I mean, she's chosen to be very quiet about that, and that's her right. And I think that she's been inaccurately portrayed, and I just think it's a sad situation.
Brad, I'm going to remember a lot of the positive things about DEI. I remember Dale Earnhardt Jr. just leading so many races, running up front. You think about the Brickyard 400, up there dominating. I remember Watkins Glen dominating, only to be ruined by some blown engines that this team has never really had problems with in the past. So I guess this year wasn't meant to be. But you know what? DEI's got some speed, and they still got Martin Truex and Mark Martin and guys like that to carry the Dale Earnhardt Sr. banner on, and they'll be just fine.
Dale Jr. has one more shot today to get that win. Other things we'll be watching for: races within the race. Top 35 in owners points. Dave Blaney hanging on to the 35th spot, 136 points up on the 21 of Elliott and Schrader. And there are 12 in the chase, but only top 10 take the stage in New York City in 2 weeks for the end of season awards. Also to be awarded Rookie of the Year, Juan Pablo Montoya a big edge over David Reagan. So we'll be watching for all of that today as we roll on. And Rick Hendrick has as many fans as his drivers do. From humble small-town beginnings to complete domination, Hendrick's triumphs and tragedies. His story next as the countdown to a championship ticks on. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Aerial coverage of Homestead-Miami Speedway brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 50 years. Whether it's Johnson or Gordon holding the Nextel Cup trophy at the end of the day, what we are sure of is that Hendrick Motorsports will collect its 7th championship, and that Rick Hendrick should be recognized with the Steinbrenners, Rooneys, and the like as the bedrock of sports ownership. Hendrick is the ultimate American success story. As Dr. Jerry Punch chronicles his journey, you'll see that with every bit of success came despair.
Rick Hendrick's philosophy is that 3 things are needed for success. You must show up on time, and show up with your game face on. Based on his life, there could be a 4th thing: show up even in the darkest of times.
Everything that he's gone through in his adult life is just very dramatic and very traumatic. When he speaks, you listen, and the reason that you listen to him is because you know what he's gone through. All of his life experiences has got some reason behind it.
Probably wouldn't be in Hendrick Motorsports, and we wouldn't be here today.
In 1995, a little more than 12 years after entering NASCAR, Hendrick Motorsports won its first championship with a car driven by a fresh-faced kid named Jeff Gordon. The next year, another Hendrick driver, Terry Labonte, won the title. But news from a doctor shortly thereafter tempered the celebration.
I was diagnosed with leukemia. You're in somewhat of shock. The last thing in the world you expect is for someone to tell you you have terminal cancer.
I kept going by to see him all the time, and I went in one day, and he had no color. And his face was drawn, and his hands, there was like the bones were showing through his hands. And I went outside, I started crying, because I thought that was the last time I want to see him.
When he was sick, he didn't talk about it a whole lot. Those that knew him well knew that he was going through a lot of pain and being ill, and it was a tough time, but he never showed it.
As Hendrick battled leukemia, he was also entangled in a legal battle. In 1996, he was indicted on 15 federal charges for alleged bribes given to Honda officials for the acquisition of new car dealerships. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail fraud in 1997, served a year of home confinement, and was later pardoned by President Bill Clinton. On the track, his teams continued their winning ways, with Gordon adding back-to-back Cup titles in 1997 and 1998. And by 1999, Hendrick's cancer was in remission. In 2001, Hendrick watched his son Ricky emerge as a driver.
Never have I been as proud as I was that day when I saw him sitting up there behind the mic answering questions about being the youngest guy to ever win a truck race.
As quickly as he burst on the scene, Ricky retired as a driver in 2002, choosing instead to focus on the family business. All of that changed, though, on October 24th, 2004. On that day, Rick Hendrick, who was sick at home in Charlotte, got a call that the company plane en route to that week's race had crashed. All 10 people on board were killed, including his brother John and son Ricky.
It's a hole in your heart that never goes away, and you think about it every day. But there's such a loss. We had planned this is the way that motorsports was going to end up, and Ricky was going to take over.
I spent a lot of time with Rick away from the racetrack, and I don't think it's been a day that Ricky's name doesn't come up in some way or another one.
A week later, with Hendrick Motorsports drivers paying tribute to those who had died in the crash, Jimmy Johnson won in Atlanta.
And loving memory all the way.
We're watching that on TV, all of the family together, and it was just, I mean, everybody was crying. It was a really special deal.
Last year, Johnson won his first Cup, Hendrick's 6th title overall, and first since Gordon's 2001 championship. Now on the verge of his 7th championship, Hendrick still shows up on time, and shows up with his game face on, even when the losses seem greater than the wins.
I don't know how he does it, but he still shows up every day with a smile on his face. He leads his automotive industry. He leads the race shop like he does, and it's just amazing to watch him.
Everybody goes through tough times in life. We've been able to enjoy some of the best times and some of the toughest times. So it just makes you appreciate every day.
Just to hammer this home, in 1984, Rick Hendrick had no driver and no sponsor. Jeff Bodine jumped on board, but there were so many times earlier in that season they were this close from never having Hendrick Motorsports. And I'm wondering, Brad, how do you think he's changed the sport?
Well, the big thing for Rick Hendrick, and single-handedly, especially through the 80s when the multi-car teams came along, he took a rural sport and globalized it. He brought in global entities to sponsor these race cars and got them involved, and it broadened the horizons of NASCAR. He has been a huge, huge force in creating an opportunity for these owners to make a living out of this business.
And Brad, he's got such a solid personality. He's just such a wonderful man. All the employees that work in Hendrick Motorsports will tell you, gosh, we just love working for him. You know, if we ever have a problem, we can talk to Rick. And you know what, if we ever need something, Rick's going to get it for us. He wants to win. He wants to be a competitive fella. But above all, he's a genuine nice guy.
More than anything, Rick Hendrick has taught us all, it's about choosing the right people and then treating those people the right way. You've got one last race to call. Excited?
One more, that's it. Really am.
One more to go.
Absolutely.
You know, there are so many details to having a successful team. Picking the right crew chief, like a Chad Knaus, is so key to managing it. Our crew chief is Tim Brewer, and he's standing by at the Chevy Cutaway car in the Dish Tech Center with the major adjustments we'll be watching for today.
As a crew chief, we build a lot of adjustability in our cars, so we can adjust spring rate during the race. We can actually change rubbers in the springs, putting them in, making them stiffer, removing them, soften them up. We can actually change the weight distribution in the car with the ratchet as far as loading and unloading the load on the springs. Crew chief's favorite thing, air pressure. How many times have you heard, hey, we went down 1 pound in the right front tire to help the car turn? What that does, when we take a pound of air pressure out of the tire, it takes 60 pounds of spring rate away from the thing, enabling the car to turn better through the middle of the corner. So the best friend a crew chief's got is the air pressure gauge.
Cutaway Car is brought to you by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history, an American revolution.
Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon are ready to fight it out. Lennox Lewis knows they're both champs. Straight ahead, how can teammates have such differing results down the stretch? The tale of two teams and what makes them tick coming next.
This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. The ceremonies continue here, and as we hear from the Navy rock band Pride out of Jacksonville a little bit, we want to remind you that tonight the biggest music stars on the planet come together. Live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. And for the first time ever, your votes will decide who wins the American Music Awards live tonight, right after NASCAR on ABC. And for all those who want a close championship finale, don't give up hope. Jeff Gordon has outpointed Jimmy Johnson by more than 86 points in a single race 4 times this year. 2 of those races were NASCAR's 2 biggest, the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis. Both Gordon and Johnson haven't done it alone. They have 2 of the best crew chiefs in the entire business.
Jeff Gordon takes the win at Talladega. Jimmy Johnson 4 in a row.
They have unbelievable talent. They apply a completely different way. It's hard to see from the outside, but Jeff is a very calculated driver. He's a little more emotional than Jimmy.
Stop running into me. I won't have to run into him.
Jimmy's actually helped me realize that the highs need to be extremely high, but the lows don't have to be as low. It's easy for a person to go out there and make a mistake and do something wrong and cause a top 5 to turn into a top 10 or a win to turn into a top 15. Jimmy's very good at brushing that stuff off and refocusing and looking towards the next week. I'm very fortunate to be with Jimmy. I know that 100%. When we first started this team, Jimmy was unheard of, I was unheard of. We really knew that coming into this was our opportunity to do something special. We've developed over the years a sense of trust for one another that's just, I think, is phenomenal. If he tells me something, I believe it, period. There's no second guessing, there's no doubt, and I really feel like it's the same with him.
When you're winning, it's easy. You're like, absolutely, I believe you, anything you want. But when you struggle, when you get into some slumps, that's when the true challenge comes into play.
We can take 4 tires, pull left side. What do you think? 4 tires are better than 2, that's for damn sure.
Chad made a great pit decision, wins the race. I look at Chad as a mentor, especially like this championship race. He does a good job of telling me what he was thinking and how he went through it.
Steve's been there since he was young. I think he was 14 years old when he started there, and he was working in the parts room when I was working in the body shop. Steve is a completely different person than I am. He's not near as intense, he's laughing, joking, has a good time, and I don't do that. I'm more of a quiet person, more reserved.
We all want to win, we all want a championship. We eat and drink it and sleep it, and it's all we worry about. But when we wake up Monday morning, I'll have my kids, I'll have my wife.
Steve Letarte, just really brought a lot of new ideas and excitement and just really helped take this team to that next level.
People don't realize that in 2005, we were a top 10 race team at best. We couldn't lead laps, we couldn't win races. I'd love to win the championship, but just to see the fire in his eyes, to go out and win 6 races, 28 top 10s so far, we've already had success.
I think that the 48 team can be a dynasty. The potential for us to continue to grow as a team and as an organization is there, and I look forward to it.
Now we're taking the ride around the track right now, joined by the Busch Series champion Carl Edwards, and to my left is Jeff Gordon. And last weekend after the race, Jeff said this championship's over. But if you look at the stats, Jeff, it certainly is not. 86 points separate you guys. You've outpointed Jimmy 4 times by 86. How realistic is that today?
Come on, you took me serious on that? I was just joking. No, you know what? They've really put it to us the last 4 races, and we recognize that they've outperformed us. We've been very consistent this year. We've really done everything we set out to do, and to still be behind in the final race was a little discouraging. But we came in here with a fresh mind on do everything we can as a team to come in here, qualify the best we can, get everything out of it in practice so that this DuPont Chevrolet is ready to go for the race. And we really, truly are ready for this race. I hate it's not a little bit closer because I'd love to battle Jimmy, just for position. But we know that if they don't have some kind of major problem, we're going to come out of here second, which still isn't bad. Still been a great year.
All right, Jeff Gordon, of course, the hunter today, and he rolls off 11th in pursuit of his 5th NASCAR Cup championship. Jerry?
Thank you, Jamie. If you're Jeff Gordon, you must get up at night and say, how can this be? I've got 7 poles, 6 wins, a record-tying 29 top 10 finishes. And I look at the charts, and I'm not the points leader. How does that impact you or the team mentally?
Well, you just heard him say they've done everything they set out to do. They've won all these races. They've put up all these points, and they don't come in here with the lead. They come in here 86 points behind. And you're thinking, man, what have I got to do? They look next door, and their teammate is just outperforming them, and that's all they can do. They can just go out here, do the best they can, try to win this race today, and then let happen what happened.
Jeff Gordon certainly has had a great year, and Brent Musburger, to put it in perspective, the Colorado Rockies also had a great year, but when it came down to the title chase, there was one team just a little bit better,
As you've always said, Doc, class tells. And you know, 2 lucky fans will be will settle the chase for the Nextel Cup. A sellout crowd, and why not? The Miami Dolphins long ago spit the bit on this NFL season. All eyes now in South Florida are focused on Homestead. And you know, Jimmy Johnson is red hot. He's the first driver to win 4 straight races since 1998 when Jeff Gordon did it. He's also only the 8th driver to win 4 straight in NASCAR's modern era, dating back to 1972. Now, no driver has won 5 straight in NASCAR's modern era, as in ever. Can't do it alone. Got a great crew chief in Chad Knaus. And so let's go down to Susie Calva right now. Susie?
Well, the grid is so crowded. Jimmy Johnson is making his way down here. Chad Knaus, a more than able fill-in. You know, we know that Jimmy has been talking about all week long trying to keep that nervousness at bay. How have you seen him react to things just during the weekend?
I think he's done really well. The thing that I think that we do the best is when we get into the competitive environment, I think we're able to block everything out. So it's really nice. Obviously, when Jimmy straps into the car and gets his helmet on, he'll be able to be focused and one-minded and go out there and do what he needs to do. And you know, the same for me. Once I get up on top of the pit box and put my headset on, will be business as usual, I hope.
What's the biggest concern?
Just obviously finishing. We saw some mechanical issues with the truck race, and we saw a lot of accidents yesterday in the Busch race. So just making sure that we complete 267 laps and being there at the end, and you know, hopefully going for the win.
You guys have been going for it. Does the driving style have to change?
No, not really. I think that if you've watched the way we've been all year long, Jimmy's done a really good job of waiting to the end of the race, and we've done a really good job in the pits with the guys and great pit stops and good adjustments on the race car. So at the end, we've got the best car that we can possibly have, and that's kind of our goal. And if we can pull that off, it's going to be exciting.
Best of luck. Whoever's going to win today is going to have to go through the 48 team. Now let's go to opening ceremonies.
Race fans, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and remove your hats as the Homestead Air Reserve Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. And will you please welcome Miss Florida 2007, Kylie Williams, as she delivers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, we give thanks for such a glorious day to celebrate the NASCAR season finale. We pray for the safety of our drivers, their families, and the international and national fans that have come to support their champions. We also offer our thoughts and prayers for the family of former NASCAR chairman Bill Francis Jr. In closing, we would like that you would watch over our serving men and women as they defend our freedoms. It is in your precious and heavenly name we pray. Amen.
And now, will you please remain standing and welcome double platinum recording artist from Fuel, Torian Green, as he performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
we begin Thanksgiving week, let us all send our best wishes and prayers to our servicemen and women who are serving us so very proudly around the globe. It is about time now to go green. The last race of this Nextel season, number 36, 14,000 miles. Dr. Jerry Punch, how long before we show up in Daytona, my friend?
It is not very long at all, Brent, and we're excited about finishing up 2007 and moving into 2008. It has all come down to two drivers, one race and one championship. All 12 of these positions could change today. Depending upon the outcome of this race, only two guys can battle for a title. 86 points separate Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon. And how quickly could that change? Well, folks, take a look. 4 times this year, Jeff Gordon has outpointed Jimmie Johnson by 88 points or more. And folks, right here 2 years ago, Gordon gained 100 points on Jimmie Johnson. If he does that today, he will leave as the 2007 Nextel Cup champion. Teams focused, teams concentrating, teams thinking about what this day could mean. It has been a 10.5-month season, and it will end up 4 hours and 400 miles from now. Everyone, along with Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, the champions, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And Rusty, in your career here, you've experienced exactly what these drivers are feeling today. Now, you've come into the final race of the season as a chaser like Jeff Gordon. You've also come in as a chasee like points leader Jimmie Johnson. You know, how does the pressure differ for these two guys?
It's extreme different, Jerry. It really is. You take a look at Jimmie Johnson right now. He needs to do what he's been doing all year long that got him here. Although he can't trust anybody. He's going to be very careful what's going on around him in order to win this championship. On the other hand, Jeff Gordon, this guy's got nothing to lose. He's got to stand in the throttle and go wide open. Unless something happens to Jimmie Johnson, then the whole thing changes again, and then it's in Jeff's shoes to be careful and do what he's got to do to win this title.
Andy, you led Dale Earnhardt Sr. to 2 Cup titles as the crew chief. What's the mindset of these crew chiefs, Chad Knaus versus Steve Letarte?
Well, it's real easy with Steve Letarte because he's just going to go out there and race, gamble, do whatever it takes to win. For Chad Knaus, it's a little different. He's got the championship to worry about and something else. 5 races in a row he can win right here. So he's in a unique situation that nobody has been in. It's going to be interesting to see just how he does handle this race. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. It's going to be very exciting to watch.
What does history tell us about today? Well, folks, only twice in the modern era of NASCAR has a driver overcome a deficit in the final race to capture the title. Kowicki did it. Richard Petty did it. But you know what they say, folks? The third time is the charm.
Just moments away from the start of the 400 grid, there's a sense of anticipation. There's a championship about to be rewarded between Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon. A sense of relief by these crew members as a long season is about to end, and a sense of anticipation. Somebody's going to win this race and ride 3 months of momentum until the next race at Daytona in February. It's all about to get started right now as we go to the head of the grid for the command to start engines and get this race going.
Race fans, are you ready? The time is now. It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give that command is a member of the board of directors from Ford Motor Company, Edsel Ford.
On behalf of Ford Motor Company and Ford fans everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Crank them up, King. Crank them up. Start it up. Crank it up. Okay, fire it up. All right, guys. Just appreciate everything this year. I really do appreciate all the hard work. All the guys at the shop, all you guys, I appreciate it. And let's just go out here and have a good time, have a good holiday season here. So just thanks again, guys. It's been a lot of fun this year, and let's do it one more time.
43 of NASCAR's finest are buckled up and ready. And folks, 400 miles from now, we are going to crown a Cup Series champion. Take a look at our starting grid. Points leader Jimmie Johnson starts the race today where he's finished the last 4 weeks in a row at the head of the grid. He'll be flanked by Penske Dodge driver Ryan Newman. By the way, Jeff Gordon will start back in 11th position. Now, while you watch to see where your favorite driver will start, let's visit with our in-race reporter. We're going to finish the year right the way we began the year, visiting with the driver of the Office Depot Ford, Carl Edwards, who starts 10th today.
Hey, Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Rusty, I got you. Just talked to your brother Mike.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Carl, you had the chance to race last night in the Busch race, and you ran great. You finished 4th. Hey, what'd you learn that's going to help you here tonight?
I learned that the track's going to change just a little bit, but not quite the same way I thought it was going to change when the sun went down. So hopefully that helps us tonight. But yeah, we got a great car. The guys have been doing a good job. We qualified better than normal, and we want to dedicate this race tonight to my buddy Bob Healy's family. He passed away yesterday. He's a car guy, a good guy, and hopefully we can have a good showing for him and all our fans.
Hey, Carl, last night we watched the leader of the race last night spin on that narrow pit road coming to the pits. I mean, has that area got you concerned?
Yeah, you're right, man. I didn't have to make a green flag pit stop. I watched Kevin Harvick go down there and just get all over the brakes. I saw, David Reagan lost it coming onto pit road, just doing everything he could. It's a tough pit road, so I'm going to be real cautious, especially if this car is real good. That's a bad place to make up time the way it looks.
All right, buddy, man. You have a great race. We'll talk to you later on.
All right, cool, Rusty. It's nice talking to you. Talk to you later.
Well, the man who has led Carl Edwards to 3 wins on the season this year, his crew chief, Bob Osborne. Let's visit with Bob.
Hey, Bob Osborne. Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Sir, Andy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Bob. Hey, this track's going to cool down a lot tonight as this sun goes down. How do you expect that to affect the balance of the cars?
Well, I expect the track to free up a little bit. We'll see how that goes.
So you're saying the track's going to loosen up as we go?
Yeah, I sure hope it does for how we're set up right now.
Well, that's not the way I thought it would go. I thought it might tighten up, but that's another angle we'll be looking for, and we appreciate you talking to us, Bob. Have a good race.
Thank you.
Carl Edwards has started 3 times at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and he has 2 top 10 finishes, but has yet to go to victory lane. We'd like to change that here today. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Sunny South Florida, Homestead-Miami Speedway. Let's update some of the key stories we'll be following today as we head down to the pits. First, here's Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, all the talk has been about the 24 and 48. How about a contender who's really hit his stride the last 4 races? Matt Kenseth has moved from 12th to 6th in the points. Now, I talked to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, sitting right in front of me, and he told me they feel they are the only team that has truly challenged the 48 the last 4 weeks. He expects nothing different tonight. They have nothing to lose. They're going for the win, and they're also racing with a little added emotion. After a 10-year union of driver and crew chief, this is the last race that Robbie Reiser will be on top of the pit box for Matt Kenseth. They're going all out. They want to finish on a high note with a victory. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
Well, Jamie, for Jeff Gordon, the drive for 5 has been a long and at times seemingly endless journey. It has been 6 years since his 4th and most recent title, and once again, the path to an elusive 5th crown has hit a crossroads. After falling 86 points behind a week ago in Phoenix, Jeff Gordon said, quote, "It's over." This week, though, he backed down and said, "We're not going to give up without a fight." But to win the championship, he'll have to overcome history. No eventual champion has overcome a deficit larger than 30 points in the final race to claim the championship. Jeff Gordon is trying to do that. Can he pull off the Miami Miracle? We'll find out in just 400 miles. Dave?
Mike, this is Jimmy Johnson's pit box at the head of pit road. Today, it can accurately be called the nerve center of the 48 team. Here the data is stored that's been collected over years of racing and the 2007 season that's made this 48 team so successful. Strategists and engineers have put that information together and will try to apply it tonight to the 48 car with the help of their driver. On the track, Jimmy Johnson will be communicating data all night long to his crew. But in NASCAR, there's no direct electronic data link between driver and crew. That means that they'll have to do the best they can with Jimmy on the track from the pit box, and that's where the human nerves come in. These very smart people will be going crazy all night long, not knowing exactly what's going on with the 48 car. Doc?
How pumped is that team right there to win this championship, and what kind of leader is Chad Knaus? Let's listen in to the radio.
Guys, let's go out there and have some fun today. The short race, 400 miles, 267 laps. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a lot of fun. Nice and easy, guys, just like what you did last week. 13.5-second pit stops. I'll get that done, just like I told you guys in the meeting. Thanks for your help this year, guys. I really appreciate it.
Lots of confidence on that team as they prepare to try to win 2 titles in a row. Onboard cameras, 8 high-definition onboard cameras today. We'll be riding along with the number 11 car. Denny Hamlin starts 32nd in the FedEx Freight Chevy. Kevin Harvick starts 8th in the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. Jeff Burton starts 9th, the AT&T Chevy. Dale Jarrett starts 26th in the UPS Toyota. Ricky Rudd, 38th in the Snickers Ford, his 906th and final start in an illustrious 32-year career. Tony Raines, 42nd, the Texas Instruments DLP Chevrolet. Carl Edwards, our in-race reporter, already heard from, 10th in the Office Depot Ford. And Clint Boyer starts 19th, the Direct TV on-board camera. 2 drivers trying to win a championship. Jimmie Johnson has the points lead, the confidence, all the momentum. 4 wins in a row. Jeff Gordon, the experience, the focus, and the fire in the belly to win his 5th championship. Star-studded field. Final race of the year. 7 former Cup champions, 5 former Homestead winners, and 2 Indy 500 champions as the green flag waves at Homestead-Miami. Down the back straightaway, they pan out 2 and 3 wide. Jimmie Johnson, the points leader. He is the hunted.
And right now, Jimmie Johnson's dead on the bottom of the racetrack. We saw last night in the Busch Series race, that was not the groove you wanted to run. You want to be on top of the wall, but Newman turns them loose and lets Jimmie Johnson take the lead.
Check that off. That's 5 points that Jimmie Johnson needs right there. He can put that in the bank, and now he can just go down and just start getting down to racing.
Started to say that Newman was really roughing him up for a little while, just wouldn't let him have that lead, and sailed down to back straightaway into turn 3, guys. But now Johnson's kind of thought a little different. He's just backing up a little bit, being a little conservative now, and letting Newman, and it looks like Matt Kenseth, go for it right now.
It looks just like Jimmie Johnson just backed off the throttle and said, okay, I got those 5 points. I'm just going to sit here and be not so much conservative, but I'm not going to be as aggressive early.
Here's Jeff Gordon starting back in 11th position. Now he will try to pick them off one at a time on the inside of the 31 car. That's Jeff Burton. Remember, Jeff Gordon has to get there. He's got to get there and lead as many laps as he can and try to win this race in order to have a shot at catching Jimmie Johnson for the championship. Alan Bestwick.
Doc, let's talk about the condition of this 24 car after the final practice yesterday. When he gets down to turns 1 and 2, the middle of the corners there were what crew chief Steve Letarte told me this morning. They were trying to improve with the adjustments they made in the garage, but they needed to do that without making the back end too out of control getting into turn 3. Watch the center of 1 and 2 there, and the entrance to turn 3 as there's a challenge for the lead as you watch that 24 car.
But guys, right now, the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, he's been strong the last 3 or 4 weeks. A lot of second place finishes, third place finishes, been very, very fast. And we said early, if this guy qualifies good, he always races good. And Andy right now is proving us right.
Taking the lead now, and that's not, you know, Matt Kenseth is a guy that usually shows up late, but he gets his car right, but he's got his car right early here. Almost makes me wonder a little bit about his setup later in the race when this thing's going to cool down, and these guys may have to adjust on it because he looks awful good right now.
Well, we saw last night the whole complexion of the race really changed when the sun went down and the track cooled off, and that's where the drivers are going to have to keep up with it, especially Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon if Gordon's got a shot.
Kansas trying to hold on to the lead, the 12 car of Ryan Newman. It has been a long time since Newman has gone to victory lane. Ryan Newman trying to get back there. 80 races ago, New Hampshire back in September of 2005. The last time a driver of that 12 car has been able to celebrate. He'd like to do it here in the final race of 2007.
Yeah, Newman really loved to close the deal finally here at Homestead. He's just had such a struggle the last couple of years trying to get this car to handle, but this is his style of racetrack. It's fast, it's high banked, and that's what Newman really likes.
See these guys already using the whole racetrack all the way up against the wall down to the line, down to the white line on the bottom.
Well, I really expect them to do that right now, Andy, because the track is kind of hot and slick at the moment. You know, when it cools down, the whole thing's going to change. But what we saw last night, those guys right up against the wall, and that was the fast way around this place.
Now you see Matt Kenseth coming off this corner, and he was all the way against the wall. And there's the 31. He has been real high in the corners. Jeff Burton.
Really loose. 31 car, 31 car. 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 31
31 Burton brushed the wall. You see him slowing down now. He was running in the 9th position. Teammate Clint Boyer going by, looking back at Kevin Harvick.
Guys, it looks like Burton actually brushed the wall a little bit, got some rub on the right front tire, looks like. Let's take a look at this again. He sails off into turn 1, Andy. Just gets a little too high in the rear and gets out from underneath of it.
Well, here's the problem with running high this early in the race. That groove's going to be real good all the way up to the wall later. But early in the race, there's a lot of sand, a lot of grit. These guys got to clean it off. And Jeff Burton, that's where he ran all night last night in the Busch race, and I'm sure that's where he wanted to go early in this race. But the track just wasn't ready yet.
Right now, Burton's just hoping like crazy for a caution flag to get back in this thing because he's got smoke coming off the right front tire of that 31 Chevrolet.
Yeah, by the way, Jeff Burton won that NASCAR Busch Series race here last night. Yeah, more on Jimmie Johnson as we head down today.
And already you guys have talked about using all of the grooves on this racetrack. There was one person involved with data communication that I didn't mention in my earlier story. It's the eye in the sky, the guy on top of the roof, Stevie Reeves, the spotter, who is participating already, giving important information to Jimmie Johnson that the field has cleaned off the track. All grooves available, everywhere has grip. Use the track where you want to.
Well, except for that one little spot Jeff Burton found getting in the corner, it's all pretty good. But it'll take a little while for that last 6 feet or 6 inches of the track to really get clean up there.
Andy, that's pretty good advice, though, from the spotter, because the spotter's watching everything. And for the most part, the track is cleaned up. But, boy, right on the top, on the entry of 1 and 2 is where Burton got in trouble. You can't get that high this early.
Casey Kane now moving into position in the 4th spot, so looking for win number 1 in 2007. Already been a tough weekend for Casey Kane, involved in an incident. Investigations ongoing between Casey and an unidentified security guard here at the Speedway on Friday. And a spokesman for Kane said he was headed back to the motorhome lot with his fire suit on, and a guard stopped him. There was a concern over a credential for his brother, and the security guard ended up, I guess they bumped each other, went to the ground, and it's an ongoing investigation. NASCAR also, by the way, looking into this incident that took place on Friday here at Homestead-Miami. Early laps here. Lap number 10 of 267. Matt Kenseth, the early leader. Newman, Johnson, Kane, and Kurt Busch in the top 5. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Welcome back to the Ford 400 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season finale. Homestead-Miami Speedway, 6th consecutive year NASCAR has come here to crown a champion at the finish line of this 400-mile event. 2-car, Kurt Busch on the move. There's the 2-car. Kurt being able to go by Jimmie Johnson to take away the 3rd position. Matt Kenseth still the leader. Ryan Newman, his Penske teammate, in 2nd spot.
The next one to get to that 48 is going to be the 24. Watching his lap times are pretty quick, too. They're just about as quick, if not quicker, than Kurt Busch. So he's on the move also.
Yeah, you can tell Jeff Ward's on it right now. He's been running the bottom of the racetrack, a pretty unusual line for the most part. But Jimmie Johnson chasing Kurt Busch right now. Notice he's a little more conservative. Take a look at the 31, guys. He bumped the wall early, and now the right front tires went down on it. There it goes. He's just got to watch the entry of pit road now. We watched David Reagan spin out there last night in the Busch Series race. It's very narrow pit road.
I don't want to make that mistake. Let's put 4 on, but we got to make sure the right front's not rubbing.
You never want to have this kind of trouble, but if you're going to have it, this is the time. Have it early where you can make all this time back up.
And Burton's done a good job getting his car on pit road. If he goes a little faster, if he's going to blow the right front fender off, with the tire coming apart.
Tony Stewart sawing that wheel.
Jamie Little.
And Jeff Burton in his pit box, of course, guys, you saw him get a little high. He said it's his right front went down. They had a little bit of fender damage. So Jeff Burton came in, said it's definitely the right front, guys. Fix it. Pull that fender out. You see him doing it there on the left-hand side. Very costly for Jeff Burton, guys.
Well, Jamie, you could tell that was going to be a problem early on because when he got in the wall, we saw a lot of smoke off that right front tire, and he kept going. And I was very nervous that this thing might go down, and it finally did. But now he's just got to make the ground up.
He's going to have a lot of ground to make up. He's losing his 2nd lap right here as these leaders go by. So what he's got to do now is try to get this car back out there and get in position to get that lucky dog, because right now he's the only car that's down a lap.
Yeah, he's got an opportunity to get that done right now, Andy. As you said, he's the only one down a lap. So if the caution flies, he's back in the game.
And he needs a caution very quickly. Now, how about the 20 car? We talked about how good the 24 car is. Both these cars sailing now. The 20, Tony Stewart, started back in 14th position. He and Jeff Gordon both running laps extremely well. 33.15s, 33.10s, and that is quicker than Kenseth, the leader.
You can tell right away that Tony Stewart had a good car, man. He went right to the top of the track. A lot of momentum up there. He's working the bottom. He's working the top. And he's won here before. He knows how to get around this place.
He's won here before, but he's never won on this configuration. That's the only thing he's got to figure out is how to work this banking now.
I guess what I meant, I think he's won the championship here, though, in this particular configuration on this track. So, yeah, it's he knows he's mile and a half. He's probably loving it out there right now.
Yeah, he won the very first 2 events they ran here back in 1999 and 2000 when it was 4 and 6 degrees of banking. Now it's a progressive 18 to 20 degrees. The one car, Martin Truex there in a battle with our in-race reporter, Carl Edwards, as these guys battle for 7th spot.
Jerry, when he unloaded here on Friday afternoon for the very first practice session, he told us, he said, this is the best car I've had all year long. This thing feels good. It's fast. And right now, we just got to see if it's going to stay that way because he has not yet been able to practice this car at night yet.
Dave?
And guys, right now, as we're getting a report, maybe there's something going on with the 24. The one car had a scare yesterday in final practice. He had just told his crew chief, Bono Mannion, that the top line was running great for him. And on the final lap of final practice, he scraped the wall right in there somewhere between turns 1 and 2. They repaired the whole right side of that car and got it back together. But Bono said, we think we'll have a pretty good race car, but that was close.
Man, take a look at the 2-car Kurt Busch and the 12-car Ryan Newman. The teammates, they're actually running down Matt Kenseth just a little bit right now. And these guys want to end the year on a high note. Kurt Busch has already won this year, but Newman, he's on a dry spell.
Kurt Busch won here from the pole in 2002. Remember, he came here in 2004 as the pole sitter, went on to win a championship by a scant 8 points over Jimmy Johnson. So he's had pretty good success here, trying to get up a win here at the end of the year. And the guy behind him, we told you about how Ryan Newman's now had an 80 race dry spell. How much does he want to win for not only for himself but for this Penske operation?
Well, he knows he's got one shot to go, and that's it, Jerry. He's got to get it done today if it's going to happen this year, that's for sure.
The Ford of Matt Kenseth showing the way here in the early laps. A couple of Dodges behind him, Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman. And then 3 Chevrolets, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart, with Martin Truex closing in a hurry. 24 laps are complete. Back with more from Homestead in a moment. This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button, presented by ESPN Deportes. Early laps, Homestead-Miami Speedway. Matt Kenseth the leader, Kurt Busch in 2nd spot. There's a 17-car Kenseth. 4 consecutive top 5 finishes here in the chase. If it wasn't for Jimmy Johnson, he probably would have won 2 or 3 of those races. Kenseth trying to end the season on a win here at Homestead-Miami. A couple of guys behind him, Kurt Busch and Newman, the 2 Penske teammates. How about the 1 car, Martin Truex Jr.? This is the car he set on the pole with at Texas a couple of weeks ago. Led so many laps at Atlanta, finished 2nd at Michigan twice. And this car should have won 4 races if I had any luck at all. And he is driving the wheels off of it early on here at Homestead-Miami.
Jerry, this car is so fast right now, it's almost stupid. He's like 0.3 of a second faster than anybody out there. He's dead on the top of the racetrack. And Andy, watch him here go past Johnson. I mean, this thing is just flying right now.
He's got that groove, that upper groove, working better than anybody. He's way, way up there. And it's very risky up there, but it's super fast right now.
I mean, he's got 236 laps to go, and he's on the wall every single lap. I mean, to me, it doesn't give you any room for error.
He's already hit the wall in practice. They had to, down there this morning, we just heard him talking about it, the whole right side was beat up. They had to re-decal it, fix all the fenders, and I'm going to predict that he's going to hit it again before the day's over, as close as he's running to that wall.
How big would this be, though, for DEI? Everyone's talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. leaving after this race and going away to Hendrick Motorsports, but in terms of momentum internally for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, the organization, if they can get a win here with Truex or even the 8 car.
It will be huge for these guys to win, especially if the 1 car was to win, because he's going to be the leader. He's going to take over the leadership role of that team, and for him to go out of here with a win would be huge. Although this car right here, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he needs a win bad.
Started all the way at the back of the pack. They had a transmission change, and they had to go to the rear of the field. He has now clicked off, 21 positions. Earnhardt Jr. all the way up to 20th spot. Dave.
And Doc, here's why they had to go. Here's why they changed their transmission. Why it broke. It's crazy. He's had such a bad year that his garage selection this weekend was all the way down towards turn 4. The cars exit the track, and the guy in the very last garage area has to make a hard U-turn to get into his garage stall. You can't do it. Junior had to back up, go forward, back up, go forward. People were getting clogged up behind him. He had to hurry. Eventually, using reverse all that much in practice, it wore out. That's why they had to change the transmission, and by NASCAR rules, they had to start at the rear.
Well, you talk about DEI. I mean, I just got to believe this team is going to be so strong next year with Mark Martin and all the drivers that got driving that car. And Truex, guys, week after week has been so strong in that one car. Let me tell you what, DEI Racing is not in trouble at all. Making a lot of horsepower, they'll fix their problems, and they'll be just as good as ever.
They indeed will be. And how about the guy right behind Earnhardt Jr.? That is Greg Biffle, and they can rename this race the Greg Biffle Invitational. He has won it the last 3 consecutive years.
Here goes Truex. He's going to get another spot. This is going to be for second spot or third spot.
Yeah, you take a look at this car. You take a look at this #1 car, Mark Truex. The way it's running right now. Does it look like DEI's in trouble to you? Not to me. This thing looks great out there.
Not at all. And remember now, Mark Martin will share that 8 car next year for DEI with U.S. Army cars on it. He and Eric Almirola will split that car. So they're going to be awfully stout in 2008.
I'll tell you what, if he quits, if he stays running so high and gets in that wall, he's going to be in trouble. I wish he'd give that wall just a little bit of a breathing room, Andy. This last time by, about 6 inches off the wall.
What about our championship teammates and contenders? Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. They are running 5th and 6th in that order. There's Jimmy Johnson. He has led a lap, so remember, you already gets those 5 bonus points. Led the very first lap, and behind him, a pretty good side-by-side battle. The 24 car of Gordon trying to hold off Tony Stewart.
You know the fastest way around a racetrack, Andy, I mean, the shortest way around, I mean, it's dead on the bottom of the racetrack, but it seems to me the fastest way is dead on top of the track. We're watching Martin Truex with all that momentum really flying off at turn 2 and really flying off at turn 4. And why Gordon's dead on the bottom right now, I don't have a clue.
Well, some of these guys are making time on the bottom. We saw the 8 car Junior. He usually runs the top and runs it well. I just saw him running the bottom for many, many laps. He's made up a lot of ground. But and 24 car was going forward on the bottom. It seems like when the tires wear out, the preferred groove does move all the way to the top of the track, though.
More on Jeff Gordon, Alan Bestwood.
Well, here might be a reason why he might be running the bottom, Rusty. Jeff Gordon has reported the front end of his car losing grip under throttle. So that means in the center of the corner, when he gets back to the gas, the front end starts to slide. So he needs more room to exit the corner. And if that front end was gripping properly, maybe he's moved to the bottom to give himself that more room so he doesn't have to get out of the gas, leaving the corner, and lose more time than he would otherwise.
Well, Alan, that's a good explanation right there. I know if the front end sliding, you go at the corner 200 miles an hour and turn the wheel, and that thing doesn't turn, you're going to hit the wall. But right now, doing what he's doing, he's about a half a second slower than Martin Truex Jr., who is the fastest car on the track right now.
Jeff Gordon needs room to slide and room to race here, trying to get a championship, trying to reel in his teammate, Jimmy Johnson. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season finale. We're getting ready to crown a champion here. These aerial shots from high above, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Matt Kenseth is still our leader. Kurt Busch in second. Martin Truex is now third. Ryan Newman is fourth. Tony Stewart has moved up to 5th position, all the way back from 14th starting spot.
Doc, we've been talking about Martin Truex and Matt Kenseth a little bit now. We talked about how fast Truex been, but now the last couple laps, Kenseth has actually matched his time, so it looks like he's not catching them now. They're really holding their own. And right there, Kurt Busch is just hanging in right in the middle. His lap times are varying back and forth a little bit, but it appears now the 2 fastest cars in the field are the 1 car Truex and Kenseth.
But what about Jeff Gordon, the 24 car? We told you Gordon has had 4 consecutive wins and built an 86-point lead. It's been a while since Jeff Gordon has been able to go by the 48. But guess what here? He's doing it at Homestead-Miami Speedway on the day that he has to do it and make it work.
Jerry, we talked a little bit about these cars have been so good and the drivers have been so smart. The teams have been so good. But a lot of times they don't have the fastest race cars in the field, although they end up front. Andy, right now, they're getting beat by almost 4/10 of a second on the racetrack. And that's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's early.
Yeah.
These guys seem to be good when it counts at the end of the race, and that's what you'll see here. With these guys, they don't have the fastest car the whole day. They work on their cars. They keep working on them until they're the fastest when they need them to be.
Early in this race, how about a couple of guys here that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be driving for Hendrick Motorsports next year? And how about Earnhardt Jr. just sailing by the 5 of Kyle Busch?
It looked like Kyle Busch cut the switch off when they came off that corner. That's just a real illustration of how that momentum works here. Junior was running that bottom line earlier. Now he's got that thing all the way against the wall.
And boy, you see that back of that car just kind of jumping around. I mean, him and Martin Truex are doing exactly the same thing. Same type of chassis, dead on top.
Check out our sprint speed lap here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. sprinting toward the front. Remember, folks, he started back in 41st position. His last lap over 160.3 miles an hour, and much quicker than the leader as the last 3 consecutive time winner here, Biffle on pit road. Mike?
And Greg Biffle real happy with his race car, saying it's just a tick tight in center groove, but when he gets up high, a little bit loose there. No significant adjustments to the 16 car. 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth's been leading his first laps ever here at Homestead. He said his car is just right in 3 and 4, a little tight in 1 and 2, slight adjustment, 4 tires. He's down and away. Mike?
Carl Edwards has been adjusting his brake bias throughout the course of this first run. Still very happy with his race car. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Also raise the track bar because he feels it's a little bit tight in turns 1 and 2 and has no grip in turns 3 and 4. They're down and away after a 4-tire change.
Man, the whole field is hitting pit road. Now, here's Martin Truex on pit road, and they it looks like about lap 48, 49 is all they can run on fuel.
Let's go down to Dave.
The car wants to spin out in turns 3 and 4. That's a report from the driver, but that is a fast situation right now for Martin Truex. They will change 4 tires. It'll be an air pressure adjustment for Truex in the 1 car. Meanwhile, Jimmie Johnson also coming down pit road as his team waits for him as he comes into a stop right now. Jimmy's reporting his car is tight in the center of the corners. That will get a chassis adjustment. The wrench is going in both sides. Those are wedge adjustments, air pressure as well. Chad Knaus telling his driver, we'll try to free you up a little bit, buddy. Tires going on the left-hand side, and now he leaves pit road. Alan.
And you see Kurt Busch on the left-hand screen pitting from 2nd place, where he's running before the round of pit stops started. Trouble in turn 2, trouble in the pit entrance.
Your caution is out. Caution is out. Got the 29 coming in. Stay low.
8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sideways. You see him getting back on the racetrack. The 29 of Harvick down there trying to avoid trouble as well. And caution comes out as you see Jeff Gordon in the pits for his first stop of the day. Left side tires, Steve Letarte and crew are going to get 4 tires on. You hear most of these guys complaining of the cars being tight.
All clear, 42 to the cone, 42 to the cone.
It's going to shuffle them up a little bit because all of them had not made their pit stops.
Yeah, you got half of them on the racetrack, half of them on pit road right now, Andy. This has got everything totally confused right now when it comes to pit strategy.
Folks, Jimmie Johnson, it would be a lap down right now by virtue of making that pit stop and others that haven't pitted yet. Now, let's show you what happened here trying to get on the pit road.
We talked to Carl Edwards. He's our in-race reporter about this narrow pit road is very tough. And we saw a race leader last night, David Reagan, spin, but he gets hit. He's out in the dirt. He's trying to get back in. Massive melee at the entry of pit road here at Homestead.
That was Kyle Busch in the 5 car that got into the 8 car of Earnhardt Jr. You saw Patrick Carpentier was there as well in the 10. There's the damage on the left rear of the 8 car. And we are being told that NASCAR is going to call the 8 and 29 in for commitment cone violations. Once you come to that commitment cone, you got to come on the pit road, and he came back on the racetrack.
They definitely violated the commitment cone. They were both crashing as they went by it.
You had to avoid that 8 car not to hit him in the side door there, you know what I mean?
Okay, you got these leaders right here. Looked like Tony Stewart wanted to pit, but you have to pit from the access road. You can't come in off the racetrack right there.
You have to come in off of the end of the back straightaway in turn 3. So had he turned down pit road, he would have had a commitment cone violation.
That's kind of confusing here at this racetrack because it looks like you can come right off the track on the pit road, but NASCAR requires these guys to use the access road, just like you saw where the 8 and the 5 car got together.
You know, it makes you wonder. We saw last night in that Busch Series race when David Reagan spun out and crashed on the entry. It's got to be in these drivers' mind because this road is so narrow. I mean, there's many cars sliding off in the dirt trying to pit.
Looks like his 5 car's got some damage. He's got a lot of damage on that headlight door. Alan?
Kyle Busch was one of those guys who had not yet pitted before that caution came out, which could turn out to be a good break. We'll have to wait and see. He does have some damage behind the left front wheel and in front of the left front wheel. They've got fender damage there from contact. You see them also working around the right front side of the car. So nose damage on this machine from that whole scramble there. that brought the caution out in the middle of the green flag stops, and that's too bad. Casey Kane, when Kyle Busch went by him on the racetrack, said that 5 car is going to win the race tonight. He had a good run going in the early part. Now those fenders, it's going to be hard on a fast track like this with those aerodynamics all messed up.
Alan, Tony the Tiger there on the hood a little bit bent up here. Watch the violation now. Watch trying to see here. There's the 8 of Earnhardt Jr. That was a cone. They went back up on the racetrack. So the 29 and 8 commitment cone violations. 9 cars up front had not yet pitted, including Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, Juan Pablo Montoya, Reed Sorensen and company. And here they come on the pit road. They slow down at 45 miles an hour for their first stop of the day. Jamie.
And Tony Stewart, of course, wanted to come in until the caution came out, but he said his car's really, really tight, and he said it's really tough to see as they enter pit road with that sun setting now. Definitely visibility an issue for Tony Stewart. He's just going to make a slight adjustment, and we're going to go to Mike Massaro.
And the 42 car reacting just the way Donnie Wingo expected it to. Started off a little bit loose, then tightened up. No adjustments, just 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
New leader Ryan Newman gives it up to come down pit road. His car just a little bit tight. They make a track bar and air pressure adjustment. The main concern was, do you have enough fuel to make it around? Driver saying, I've still got fuel pressure on his way down pit road.
Good pit stop on Ryan Newman's group as he will come back out off of pit road as leader. Juan Pablo Montoya has had a good car all weekend here. Chip Ganassi, Felix Savadas excited about what Juan Pablo could do. It was this race a year ago that he made his very first Cup Series start. And of course, Clint Boyer up a couple of spots. Under caution for the first time today, back with the restart at Homestead-Miami in a moment.
Time now for the Sports Center Minute, powered by Vizio. We start in the National Football League, a pair of 6-3 teams beating up the Giants and the Lions, and the Giants take it by the final of 16-10. Brandon Jacobs scored on this play, but left the game later with a hamstring injury and did not return. ESPN's Chris Mortensen is reporting the Raiders have circled December 2nd for their game against the Broncos as the likely debut for #1 pick Jamarcus Russell. He has not been active for any of Oakland's game after a long holdout. And the MLS Cup final is over in a rematch of last year's final. New England again loses to Houston, this time on this Dwayne De Rosario header. They take it 2-1, first repeat champions since Washington 10 years ago. SportsCenter comes your way 7 Eastern on ESPN. They'll have the newest BCS standings, guys.
Here at Homestead-Miami, we're under caution for the first time today. An incident during green flag pit stops. A contact coming on the pit road, Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And that resulted in a commitment cone violation for Earnhardt Jr. and Kevin Harvick, who had to go back up on the racetrack. They have cycled through the pits, but we're not without incident. These pit stops certainly can create problems when you're in a hurry. There's the 41 car, Reed Sorensen. Now, his pit stop was a bit of an adventure. Take a look. Middle of the screen, see the left side of his car. Watch the jack just come shooting out of the left side of the 41 car.
Oh, man, that was unbelievable. I mean, that jack was going at such a quick speed. I mean, that could have got one of the crew members. So watch this one more time, guys. This jack just spits out. Whoa! And barely misses the crew guy. I mean, that could have hurt.
Yeah, those jacks are light to carry, but boy, when you start pushing them through the air like that.
Yeah, they're made out of aluminum, and they're much lighter than a steel jack, but still they're very heavy.
After the cycling through of pit stops, the 17 is back as the leader. The 24 car and 48 are both on the lead lap. Let's go down to the Jeff Gordon pits and Allen.
Yeah, they're on the tail end of the lead lap. The leader is behind them on the racetrack because the way the pit rules work. Anytime a yellow comes out in the middle of green flag pit stops, it's confusing, especially for the guy in the cockpit.
Where were you on the relative to the start finish when they called for the yellow? That's the 25 pits when they called the yellow. That's 4 stalls past start finish line. Yeah, what they're doing is they're checking all the tapes, buddy. I think we beat the leader to the outline, and the only reason we lost the lap is because we were on the access road. After you get that all figured out, if they still are going to screw us on this deal, then we're going to figure out where we line up, which they got a big mess there.
Well, NASCAR scores the race using electronic loops under the racetrack all around it. They use that electronic scoring to determine where the caution came out, where the pace car goes. That's how these guys are on the tail end of the lead lap, essentially a mile and a half behind the race leader.
Thanks, Alan. For more information on crew communications, log on to ESPN.com. Search word communications. Pace car pulling away, and the leader is in the middle of that pack. That is Matt Kenseth. And these cars in front of him are on the tail end of the lead lap in front of him. And they're going to have to hustle to stay there. Green flag waves again here. Lap 57. Whoa, Earnhardt Jr. spins around and gets a tap again, and he's in the wall here in the front straightaway.
Jeff Burton got into the back of this 8 car. I don't know what happened, whether maybe Junior didn't get going good enough, but definitely some contact between the 31 and the 8.
This is unbelievable. A lot of people predicted that Dale Earnhardt Jr. could win this race, and now it's over.
A lot of cars are going to get their lap back here because of the way they restarted this race.
That will cycle all the guys that were in front of the leader back around behind the leaders, and that will help tremendously. You watch how this field divides now over as you see Earnhardt Jr., the damaged car moving away, and there's the leader, and all the cars in front of him now are going to pull away. There's the opening because the pace car will be able to come out and pick up the leader.
Almost half the field is going to be able to go around now.
See the pace car sitting there waiting on the bottom of the racetrack. These will go by, then he will pull up there. That is Brett Bodine who drives the pace car. He'll pull up in front of the 17.
That's the leader right there. So he's going to pull up there, and the rest of these guys are going to be able to.
Well, guys, this is a big break for a lot of people, that's for sure. But for Dale Earnhardt Jr., the last race with DEI, not the way he wanted this thing to end up. I cannot believe this is happening.
Started all the way at the back of the pack by virtue of a transmission change. Had driven the car up into the top 15. Here's the restart.
It looked like maybe Dale Jr. had to back off for the guy in front of him. Maybe like a accordion effect right there.
Well, right now, guys, take a look at the sun. The sunlight is really hurting a lot of these drivers on the restart. We saw last night. It took it for a while for that sun to go away. But until then, this is really tough running.
Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, second caution flag today. Cars on the back of the lead lap are on pit road. Take a look at who's pitting. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson, the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Alan Bestwick.
Well, Jeff Gordon's team decided to come down and pit because they think he ran over a piece of debris on the racetrack under the caution flag. That's why they came in. Dave?
And Jimmy Johnson's team opted for some fresh tires. The track position was a concern, but they opted to have the fresh rubber instead.
Well, Andy, that's just a great move. I mean, there's nothing to lose by doing that. I mean, cycle back around, get yourself, you're still on the lead lap, top it off the fuel, get some fresh tires, and I think smart move by these guys.
When that'll pay off for them is at the end of this run. If it happens to go green again like it did at the beginning of the race, these guys can stay out those few extra laps they need to, so they don't put themselves in the same position again.
At this time of day here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, the sun really starts to become a factor. In fact, to see the driver, see this Jeff Burton trying to hold his hand up to be able to shade some of the sun that's coming off of turns 1 and 2. Let's show you how bad the sun is, and what you do is we head down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. The sun's really a problem for the drivers late in the afternoon. You would like to start off with a shield like this, but that's not possible. During the event, what they're going to do is the sun goes down, they're going to reach up and take this off. Later in the day, they're going to take this off, so that at the end of the day, they can see the clear vision of the racetrack with a clear shield. Jerry?
Thank you, Tim. For more information on visors, log on to ESPN.com, search word Tech Center. And you saw that restart a moment ago, and these guys are trying to see going into turn 1 how much of that visibility actually may have caused that.
Well, Jerry, I really believe that's exactly what caused this accident, because it happened in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. They started stacking up because they couldn't see. You saw Jeff Burton shading his eyes, and when Junior got out of the throttle a little bit to give him some room, hey, there was nothing to do, nothing Jeff Burton could have done. So absolutely that's what's happened.
Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. Yeah, those guys are back on the lead lap. Gordon being shown in 20th position. Now, you got to make some split-second decisions when the caution comes out or when you're going to make these pit stops. Let's listen into the radio communications between Jeff Gordon and crew chief Steve Letarte.
If that fixed that mess or made it worse? I don't know. Yeah, you were right, buddy. If we had rolled through, we would have been on the lead lap, but we might have run out of fuel, so I think I made the wrong call there. I didn't want to roll through and lose a lap. We wouldn't have any tires or anything. We'd really be in trouble, so sorry about that. Kind of back to where we would have been now, so it's all right.
For more information on crew communications, you can log on to ESPN. And as you see, these guys, Jeff Gordon, the DuPont Chevrolet, I mean, these guys had no choice but to make that call.
It's always confusing when that caution comes out right in the middle of green flag stops. These guys just made the decision to go ahead and get the tires, and then they'd figure it out from there.
All right, let's visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the car number 99, Carl Edwards, running back in 24th position.
Carl Edwards, Rusty up here in ESPN. You got us?
I got you, Rusty.
Hey, buddy, looks like that sun on these restarts is really bad down that front straightaway. The 8 car just got turned around by the 31 because of it. You having a problem?
Well, I was a little upset with the fact that the caution came out earlier, and had been thinking about the sun too much, but it looks like it is kind of bad when we got stuff on the windshield. But you know, hopefully that goes down soon, and we don't get too much more on the windshield. Hardest part was getting to my pit box. I couldn't see a thing.
All right, buddy, we're getting ready to go green. I'll get off the radio, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Rusty.
Carl Edwards tightening those belts, pulling down, staying nice and snug in that seat. Most of the crew chiefs and spotters will say tighten those belts as you get ready to go back to the green flag. By the way, Carl crowned as our NASCAR Busch Series champion just a couple of weeks ago here for 2007.
What happens during the race, these guys, they'll settle in the seat a little bit, the belts get a little bit loose, and you have to keep tightening them all day long. And that's why we, as crew chiefs, remind these guys to tighten up the seat belts.
62 of 267 laps are complete. Matt Kenseth is our leader. He will lead the field around. We have 28 cars still on the lead lap as the pace car pulls well. Let's listen into our spotters as we go full throttle.
Get ready here, coming in. All right, get ready, get to the tail. Green, green, green. At your door. Looking low, in, clear low. Inside. Down on the bottom. Clear. Got to run outside. He's outside. Get him one by one. Do it fine. Inside, left rear quarter, all clear. Running the clear by one. Clear by half.
Kurt Busch able to make the move by Matt Kenseth to retake the lead. Busch, one of 5 different leaders we've had here in the first 64 laps. He has now led a total of 3 laps.
Well, Jerry, I tell you what, Jeff Gordon almost had a close call getting into turn 3. They were stacking up in that restart, and right now they're still all stacked up, Andy. But boy, a little while ago was very, very close.
I don't think Gordon's too much worried about this. He's just going to fight his way through it. But the 48 car is behind these guys. He can get caught up in a mess right here. This was a hornet's nest for a little bit.
Well, it looks like the 10 car, Patrick Carpentier, is having a lot of problem. Just couldn't get that thing going. And boy, they just really stacked up. The 48 to the inside, the 24 Jeff Gordon outside. And Patrick Carpentier still having problems out there.
24 car now trying to move on the inside of Paul Menard. Here comes the 48 of Johnson. There's the 16 of Biffle, who's won the last 3 in a row. Now Johnson looking a little racy in that middle groove.
Well, this is the point of the race where Johnson's got to be careful. I talked in the countdown show about landmines. He's got to really think that there's landmines all over this track and avoid everything. He gets in his gaggle of cars, and this is where the problem can happen. It's a pretty smart team, though. We all know that. Just got to be careful.
Well, he's got a fast race car right here. I mean, how conservative can you afford to be? If you try to just say, okay, I'm going to pick my way by slowly, you might get in one of these wrecks. I mean, if you got a fast car, do you just go ahead and push it hard and you can get past all these guys?
Well, Andy, right now, he's dead on a bumper of the 24 cars. There's not much real estate to get around him in right now. So, I mean, this is he's got to be careful when the 15 cars behind him. Now he's approaching the 66 car. He just got to negotiate himself through all these problems. And this is the point of the race where you could have a problem if you don't exercise extreme patience.
This is 18th, 19th, and 20th. This is the 20th place car. Carl Edwards, you're riding a wrong left here. As these guys are just about a half a straightaway behind the leaders.
Now we're about an hour away for the sun setting here at Miami Homestead Speedway. Down here, that's really going to change a lot. And right now, it's still sunny. The track is still slick. We got a problem with a lot of glare in the front straightaway you see here, and the drivers are negotiating that right now. Look, when that sun goes away, boy, they get good visibility, but that front straightaway, it's tough.
Here you got a car almost in the wall up there. These guys had to dodge.
Looked like the 19 car,
yeah,
Elliott Sadler.
He's hit the wall. He's crashed.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage.
Still green, no caution flag as of yet. As Sadler gets the car down on the inside.
And we saw last night.
Guys, be ready here. I'm coming to you. I just tore it up. Right rear damage. Probably right side flat. Right rear flat me.
12 car left side of your screen. Ryan Newman up in front of the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya. Close racing everywhere. By the way, Montoya back there in front of his teammate David Strimmy. And it gets crowded at this racetrack in a hurry when you're trying to pass, and guys in the middle groove slipping and sliding up, and sometimes not a lot of room on the outside. There's Busch, the leader. Kenseth in second going by. Then comes Newman and Montoya in third and fourth.
Like NASCAR's black flag in the 8 car. It's got a rear panel flapping in the breeze.
Mike Massaro.
You know, guys, I had a conversation with Juan Pablo Montoya's crew chief, Donnie Wingo, this morning, and the topic that really kept coming up was how much he has improved over the course of this rookie season. And Donnie told me that in the area where he improved the most is driving a loose race car. He's gotten a lot better at that. In fact, he had a big turnaround just a few weeks ago during the Atlanta COT test. They intentionally set that car up very loose, trying to challenge Juan Pablo Montoya to learn how to drive that race car. At one point, they actually asked him if they wanted to tighten it up and make it a little bit more comfortable. Juan Pablo's answer to that was, no, I need to learn how to do this, and he forced himself throughout the day to learn that handling condition. That may be paying off here today.
Made his debut here at this racetrack a year ago, Mike, and finished 34th after being involved in an incident and smacking the wall hard in turn 1. But boy, what a difference a year makes for Juan Pablo Montoya. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Ford 400 on ABC. Brought to you by Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Gillette Fusion Power, the best shave ever. And Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff.
Sun setting here in South Florida at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We are under caution for the third time today. That's the car number there, 15 of Paul Menard, the rookie driver, spinning it around as they have brought the car on the pit road to try to bend some of that sheet metal away. And let's take a look and see the view that Ricky Rudd had of what happened to Menard.
Oh, Andy, it looks like that top groove. He just got a little too high, got out from underneath him. I didn't see anybody touch him. Just flat spun that car out.
That thing just snapped around on Paul. Bangs the left side into the wall pretty good. They're going to have to fix some of that damage. Probably have some suspension damage. Here comes the leaders.
Here they will come down 45 miles an hour. Second major pit stop of the day. Jeff Gordon's bunch is there. Jimmy Johnson's bunch are ready. We head down the pit road and Jamie Little.
And Robbie Reiser, crew chief for Matt Kenseth, reminding him, come down to your pit box slow. We're going to do 4 tires. We're not going to make any changes. And Matt said, you guys need to direct me. I cannot see my pit box. The sun is a big problem right now. Alan?
And Jeff Gordon, center box left screen, is pitting. He says that the car is better on the entry to the corner, but still the nose sliding a little too much off the corner. So they're going to try and make an adjustment here. It'll be a 4-tire change for the 24 car. David?
And the 48 thinks they might go for 2, Alan, but they're going to stay with 4 up here on the 48. No changes except for a little air pressure to try to free him up a little bit more. The 24 does take 2. The 48 will take the left sides as well. Jack going up at this point, and Jimmy going off pit road. Jimmy saying, the car is doing what I want it to do. I hope my times are good. The one on pit road there wasn't necessarily their best, guys.
Yeah, it looked like they had some problems on that pit stop and lost a few spots. Lost a lot of spots, actually.
And you see Jeff Gordon, by the virtue of those 2 tire stops, gaining 10 positions, so that will put him up. And 48 Jimmy Johnson back where he does not want to be in a crowd of cars toward the back of the pack on a restart. We'll come back with a green flag at Homestead-Miami in a moment.
Final race in the chase in 187 laps. The Nextel Cup champ will be crowned. Story in the FedEx race rundown. Points leader Jimmy Johnson started the day on the pole. The first lap picked up 5 bonus points. So now all he has to do is finish 19th to win it all. And the battle we're keeping an eye on, Jeff Gordon with the early pass on Johnson.
Jeff Gordon marching towards the front. Jimmy Johnson did what he had to do early, getting those 5 bonus points. Now he's just out trying to maintain position. Jeff Gordon is coming though.
Last race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8 for DEI, and he found trouble early.
Boy, just the season for Dale Earnhardt Jr. cannot end quick enough, and this is just like the rest of the season. He's had a lot of bad luck today.
Right now, the 48 and the 24 separated by just 47 points. We're keeping an eye on it, Doc.
Indeed, Susie, and the 24 car Jeff Gordon will line up third in the restart. And how important is it for Jeff Gordon to be able to get a lap led? Remember, Jimmy Johnson has led a lap here already to get those 5 bonus points. And Rusty Jeff Gordon, he's got to get by Blaney and Hamlin and somehow charge up there and lead a lap.
Well, Jerry, I think this was a good move, putting right sides on Jeff Gordon to see what it's going to do. He needed the track position, and track position, Andy, this racetrack is everything in the world.
Anywhere you're at a high-speed racetrack where air is important, track position is just key.
He can lead a lap. He'll cut it to 42 points. We'll see what he can do. Hamlin pulls away, leads him down to the green flag. Lap 81 at 2:67. Jimmy Johnson mired back in 14th position back there behind Mark Martin and in front of Carl Edwards. A gaggle of cars. There's the glare. You're looking back at Denny Hamlin from Jeff Burton's onboard camera.
Jeff Burton's now back on the lead lap after all his problems. He's worked his way back now, where he's not just a lucky dog. He's on the lead lap in front of this 11. But here comes Denny Hamlin. He's challenging him back for this lap.
Well, how about Matt Kenseth? He's gone by Gordon to try to move his way to the front. Here comes Kenseth on the high side, the 17 car.
Well, it appears right now the 2 right side tires for Gordon aren't coming in very good at the moment, although before we judge it, let's let him run some more laps and see if that car settles in, because that's generally what happens to right side tires.
Rolling the dice for Gordon. 2 tire changes for the second time, and he's trying to hold his position. Here comes Truex, who's been awfully good on the bottom to take that spot away.
Well, I just saw the 24 just wiggling the back of that car up off of turn 4. Means it's a little loose right now on those 2 right side tires, and the rest of these guys got 4 tires. They're just driving off at the moment, so this might not be paying off. Again, let's watch this a little longer, though.
Tells me that Jeff Gordon's driving that car extremely hard right now, too. You can see how he's sawing that wheel.
And we heard him complaining how the nose of the car has been sliding up across the racetrack. He was lacking so much grip. Just like that, the 1 car just slipped up across the racetrack.
I think he went up there to see how the grip level was up there, because he's been running there the whole time. And what they do is they run the laps on the bottom with the good tires, and then they'll move up. But I think Martin Truex just says, hey, my groove's up top. I'm going to go up here and run.
Yeah, he's not even messing around with the bottom. I mean, he just threw that bottom away, went right to that top again, and he's just comfortable up there.
Like he was headed to Key Largo. He just turned right going into turn 1 there, went way up across the racetrack. Now he's trying to race back by the 24 car and make that high groove work.
Well, he was going the right direction, Jerry, if he wanted to go to Key Largo off of turn 2, heading south and getting on down there. A lot of good teams have stayed down there this week, had a good time down there.
Kurt Busch in the 2 car coming into the picture there on the left side of your screen. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car on the right side. Johnson still back in 13th position. Clint Boyer behind him. A gaggle of cars around the 48.
Now take a look at Juan Pablo Montoya in the bottom of the racetrack on the left-hand side of your screen, folks. This car has been fast all day long. No fluke going on there. But the guy in front of him, Kurt Busch, just remember, this car has been fast also. Won a lot of races this year, that 2 car has.
Guess who's back up front? The 17 car of Kenseth trying to get back there. Denny Hamlin trying to stay there. Again, the 31 car, Jeff Burton, now on the tail end of the lead lap. Boy, does he need a caution flag in a hurry to be able to come back around and get his car dialed in, not get past by these guys and put a lap down.
See how Matt Kenseth is using that bottom lane right now. Like I said, the tires are very, very grippy. He can run down there, make time. But as the tires wear, you'll see even this 17 car go way up top like you saw the 1 car of Truex.
More on Matt Kenseth as we check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, you know, we've been talking a lot about this being the final race for the traditional car. Well, Matt Kenseth brought his favorite car. It's 2 years old. He's raced it a ton of times. It has multiple wins under it. He loves this car, and tonight it's the same. He's loving it. He thinks he can bring it home to victory. After all, it's been since February since he won a race. And as I mentioned earlier, this is his final race with Robbie Reiser as his crew chief, and they would want nothing more than to go to victory lane and then, of course, retire the traditional car.
You're exactly right, Jamie. They would love to give Robbie Reiser a great send-off in victory lane here as he becomes the general manager of Roush Fenway Racing. You see left side of your screen, Kenseth goes by and puts Jeff Burton, his buddy, a lap down. They were former teammates at Roush Racing years ago. Right side of your screen, you see Jeff Gordon still running the bottom of the racetrack trying to hang tough with the 42 car and the 20. Montoya and Stewart just go sailing by.
These 2 tires are not working for the 24. You know, it was a good gamble, but it's just not working for him right now.
No, it's definitely a great idea to go for track position because they had no idea what the car was going to do on 2. So they just had to try and go for it. Alan?
And Rusty, just remember, this is the 2nd consecutive stop. They just took the right side tires. On the stop at lap 60, they just took rights. Then on the stop at lap 78, they just took rights. position and get his car toward the front. Right now, they're just kind of mired back in the traffic. He'll have to play a few more games, I would assume, a little bit later on if he's going to try and extend any kind of advantage over the 48 car.
So Andy Steve Letarte rolling the dice not once but twice on a right side tire.
Well, he's in the position of gambling. He doesn't. It's not going to hurt him if they don't get a good result out of this. They do have a lot to gain by gambling, and that's why you see them doing this. But the first time they did the two-tire deal, they didn't have but about 4 or 5 laps on the left side. So I knew that, and I'm watching, but it really was kind of, really not hard. It's not easy to gauge it from that. But now this run, they had quite a few laps on the lefts, and it's not working.
Well, you're exactly right with what you just said. I mean, this guy has nothing to lose right now. He's got second place in the points locked up, and if he's going to try something, he needs to try it early right now so it works at the end.
How much of a gamble was it for Jimmy Johnson's guys to take 4 and get him back in this mess, back about 15th in the middle of the pack? I would have been a little concerned about that as well, but he seems to be clearing some of the traffic there, or trying to get by the 0-1 of Mark Martin.
Well, you see Jeff Gordon losing spots right here. It's easier to have good tires and be on offense and pass cars than it is to be getting past like you see the 24. And I think for Chad Knaus, he made the right move putting 4 tires on this car.
Jeff Gordon, left side of your screen, moving back. Jimmy Johnson, right side of your screen, starting to move forward. 91 of 267 laps are in the books. Right now, Jeff Gordon is 75 points back of the 48 car. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
I can't stop, it's all I know.
The biggest music stars on the planet come together with live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. For the first time ever, your votes will decide who wins. Hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and broadcast live from the Nokia Theater, LA, the American Music Awards live tonight following the race right here on ABC. Take a look at our forward lap leaders thus far today. 97 laps in the books, and Matt Kenseth has led 3 times for 65 laps. Kurt Busch has led twice for 17. You see Newman, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Jimmy Johnson has led a lap, and that's significant because that's 5 extra bonus points. One of our lap leaders, the 2 car of Kurt Busch, could be having an issue. There's a 17 car of Kenseth. Newman is second, by the way. Denny Hamlin back in third. Here comes the 2 car of Kurt Busch.
I don't know which one's vibrating, but we need to get our wheels tight.
I bet we know which one it is.
Yeah, I believe it's the left rear. We saw in that last pit stop, it looks like they were struggling back there. I would bet they got a left rear problem. Allen.
Well, Rusty, when they went to attach the lugs onto the left rear on the last pit stop, the socket hung on one of the lugs, and they had to pound on the wrench to get it off that socket. Perhaps that's what happened, but Kurt Busch very frustrated, obviously. Vibration on the car. This team has run fast this year, but they've had a number of problems, a couple of them on pit road, a couple of them just the handling going away late in the race that have taken them away from wins. When I talked with Kurt this morning, he said, boy, those last 50 laps of these races have gotten us. They'll change all 4 here, but that's going to put a guy who was leading earlier in the race way behind.
You always want to get 4 tires when you got that vibration. We've seen that bite quite a few guys this year. But we had a pretty good idea that this might have been the left rear tire that was loose on this car. See, on this last stop, this was not the last stop we just saw, but on the last caution flag stop, these guys were in here changing this left side tire. You can see they're struggling with the bridge. And the car leaves actually before the left rear tire changer was finished. They're definitely going to find some oblong holes in this wheel where it was run loose.
And it looks as though there's the problem right there. The wheels are all oblong. The left rear obviously was left loose, and you saw it when the fella had the lug nut jammed up in the wheel. Crew chief Pat Tryson couldn't see that. Jack dropped, the car went off. You know, and Andy, as a crew chief, if you could have solved that problem, maybe you could have screamed for him to stop and fix that.
Well, you're going to lose a lot of track position to bring him back in, but the tire changer should have known that also. Just say, hey, bring him back in, let's get it tight. Still early enough we can get it back. You don't want to have to pit under green like that.
I remember last year, though, right here on this racetrack going out of pit road, the same problem happened to Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson had to stop and fix the car.
He dodged a bullet a year ago. He dodged a couple of bullets at this racetrack a year ago, but here Jimmy Johnson November 2006. A big piece of debris goes through the front air dam. Early in the race, he had to come back and put a patch on it. Here's the pit stop you're talking about, Rusty. On pit road, getting ready to leave, and checking out says, whoa, 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 we got lug nuts missing. Great call by the crew chief, Andy, to stop him and put those lug nuts on.
Yeah, that's definitely how you do it right there. I got to really hand it to Chad on that one, because that's hard to do, is get that car to stop and just go ahead and bite the bullet and fix what you got wrong.
He would go on and win the championship, folks. But just remember now, had he lost a lap last year, he would have finished no better than 21st here, and it would have been very close. So a critical call by the guy on the right side of your screen. What a leader Chad Knaus is.
Jerry, to Pat Trice's defense, though, with Kurt Busch's team, there were so many people around that left rear tire. And when that tire changer jumped back and that jack fell, that's always the key for the driver to go. And Pat just probably couldn't get a good look at that.
I'll give you that about Pat Trice, but that left rear tire changer, he knows that wheel's loose. I've changed plenty of those tires, and you know if you've got them tight or not.
Well, there's very few of the tire changers say everything's fine. In their mind, they want it to be tight, and sometimes it makes it. A lot of times it doesn't.
If you see that now when watching the video, what do you go to the left rear tire changer? What do you say to it?
Well, there's not much you can say right now. You just got to make sure you hit all the lug nuts, be very, very deliberate, and make sure the wheels are tight from here on. That's all you can say. There's nothing you can't really get on him right now. You wait till Monday morning and talk about it.
Maybe you just plant the seed. If you're unsure, come tell me. Exactly. If we get a vibration, we might have an idea. Matt Kenseth, the leader here, has led 3 times for 73 laps. How about Tony Stewart, the 2-time winner here at Homestead-Miami Speedway? Tony, he set sail very early, started back in 14th spot, now being shown in 2nd position. There's Tony in the 20 car, driving for Joe Gibbs, the coach.
And boy, talking about the 20 car, I mean, he is about 1/10 of a second faster than the leader, Kenseth, right now.
Ryan Newman, we talked about that 80-race winless streak. Boy, would he love to go to victory lane in this finale for 2007. Back and forth. Denny Hamlin, one of our chasers, who struggled a little bit in the chase here down the stretch, but having a good run here today, now being shown in the 4th position. The other Joe Gibbs car, by the way. Then comes the 5th place car, the one of Martin Truex Jr. Truex, this is the car he set on the pole with in Texas, nearly won at Atlanta. In 5th spot, behind him, leading Rookie of the Year contender Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42, the 1-year anniversary of his very first NASCAR Nextel Cup start here at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Well, the one car, I've been looking at the right front fender, and it looks like it's got some damage on it right now. It's not slowing the car down much, but he must have got himself in an incident somewhere, or something doesn't look right on that corner.
Yeah, I see that. I saw that earlier when we showed that. It could be some of the repair that they made on that car from the practice crash. They use a lot of these decals and wraps and whatnot to kind of repair that damage, and it looks like some of that's blowing off, so it may not have been recent damage.
Yeah, he brushed the wall in the first of 2 practice sessions here on Saturday. They had to go in and repair the car, but it hadn't slowed it down too much because he's already led here today. Matt Kenseth, 4 consecutive top 5 finishes. He didn't get the win. He's just trying to do it here today. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to the Ford 400 season finale. Homestead-Miami Speedway here for the NASCAR Nextel Cup drivers. Aerial coverage from high above Homestead-Miami, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. 4 memorable moments from the 2007 season. Let's look back just a little bit. You remember these, folks? How about the confrontation in turn 1 at Watkins Glen? Kevin Harvick and Juan Pablo Montoya. A disagreement. How about the opening race of the year, the final lap at Daytona, 2/100ths of a second, and Kevin Harvick would win the Daytona 500 over Mark Martin. How special was that? Jimmy Johnson becomes the first driver since 1998 to win 4 consecutive Nextel Cup events. And another moment, how about a son, a famous son, having to walk away from the company his dad began. He hooks up with Hendrick Motorsports, Dale Earnhardt Jr., leaving DEI. And folks, you can vote on which of those most memorable moments you think is the best. That's our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Is it A, the fight, B, the Daytona 500, C, Jimmy Johnson 4 straight, or D, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s move? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later in the race. Speaking of Johnson and Gordon together again, that could be a pretty good country song here. 24 and 48. Jeff Gordon in 8th position. Jimmy Johnson back in 9th.
The same thing we've seen all year long, guys. They just can't seem to get away from each other. And right now, Jeff Gordon needed to have extreme speed in this race just to blow the doors off that 48 and drive away from him. And he doesn't have it this race.
I think he's going to have some speed when he gets 4 tires back on this car. I think that's what he's struggling with right now. Jeff Gordon in this 24. As soon as they get back in the pits and get 4, he'll be back in the game.
Hey, Burns?
Yeah, and Andy, I think that's probably the biggest difference right now. Remember, the 48 did take those 4 tires. That is coming to him. The car's been good all weekend. On lap 99, Jimmy reporting, I think we're getting good when asked what the car was doing right now. So thinks he's getting good. Maybe just a tick on the free side, but not real bad right now. Alan?
On lap 116, just a couple of circuits ago, Jeff Gordon reporting that his car is lacking front-end grip there, right through to the center of the corner. Now that in addition to lacking that.
Lap 118, 267. Kenseth, Stewart, Holden 1-2. Getting set for pit stops moving in here as the 48 and 24. And as you said, Andy Petrie, that 24, they want to come in and get 4 fresh Goodyears on Jeff Gordon's Chevy. Back with pit stops and more in a moment.
Time now for the SportsCenter Minute, powered by Vizio. I'm Pam Ward. Start you off in the NFL. A pair of 6-3 teams meeting up. It was the Lions and the Giants. Brandon Jacobs and company won at 16-10. Brandon scored on this play, but left with a hamstring injury and did not return. There was a bizarre finish in Baltimore. The Browns and the Ravens, they don't like each other. Phil Dawson here from 51 yards out. Last play of regulation. At first it was called no good, but upon further review, it hit the support. It did. The ball went through the upright, so it was a field goal. It was good. The Ravens won it in overtime. And Houston again, or actually the Browns won in overtime. Houston won the MLS Cup for the 2nd straight year, beating New England. SportsCenter coming your way at 7 Eastern Time.
And we welcome you back to the Ford 400. You saw the number 17 car, the #1 Green Bay Packer fan of the NASCAR circuit, Matt Kenseth, continues to lead. But the man who's stalking him right there in the 20 car is a story as we start to look ahead to next year. Consider, folks, this is the last day that you're going to see Tony Stewart driving a Chevy. That's right. Next year, the Gibbs team will make that switch to Toyota, and I wonder how all his fans will accept that. Tony very loose prior to the start of this race. He felt he was going to have a good run. The fellas upstairs have been telling you he's got one of the fastest cars. It's been a disappointing chase overall, but smoke has pulled up into the number 4 spot right now as we send you back on town. Dr. Jerry Punch and Dr. Punch, Jimmy and Jeff, they're kind of keeping their eyes on each other, aren't they, partner?
They are teammates. They're staying close on the racetrack as well as in the point standings. Brent, here's a 29 car, Kevin Harvick on pit road. Let's go down to mine.
And they've been struggling with that car all day long, Doc. At times it's been tight, and other times it's been loose, all in the course of this same run. This time they make a chassis adjustment, wedge, 4 tires and fuel.
Andy, looks like that car's been running a little bit tight. I saw him on the right rear jack boat go down on it, which is an indication they're loosening the car up, trying to make the front end turn better on it.
Trying to keep up with this changing track. Probably cooled down about 10 degrees now, and these guys are having to screw on these jack screws to try to keep up with it.
Boy, right now the sun is just about completely gone here. This track's going through a big change right now, and it's continuing to change at this moment. It's not dead dark yet, and when it gets completely pitch black out here, that's when it's going to be completely different. But right now it's getting tighter.
Car number 1 of Martin Truex Jr. He is in 2nd position, being shown about 5 seconds behind Kenseth. There's a 17 car of Matt Kenseth. You see the interval going by. There's Jeff Burton, a lap car. There is the 1 car who's in 2nd spot.
We're going to see all these guys on pit road here in just about 3 or 4 laps.
And it looks like that debris that was on the right front corner, Martin Truex, has actually blew off the car, so it's back to looking normal. I guess that was a decal that was on there, actually.
You know, it doesn't look normal. I saw the brake rotor glowing getting in the corner. You usually don't see that on a 1.5 mile racetrack. But I saw the brakes glowing red while he was getting in the turn.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. So they're really sailing these cars down in a corner and using a lot of brake to slow them down. And that's something you don't see early in the run or in qualifying, things like that. But as the tires wear, they got to slow these cars down just a little bit more.
Guys up on the wall getting ready for their next pit stop as we just a handful of laps away from the halfway point. Here is Matt Kenseth on pit road. He's coming off 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, trying to get a win here. Right behind him, the 7 car of Robbie Gordon as we go down to Jamie Little.
I'll tell you what, they've made very few changes on this 17 machine. He says he's a little free getting in and a little tight, but he said just leave it. Don't make any adjustments. I'm happy with the way the car is. Obviously, he's been dominating this race. 4 tires, no changes, like I said. Full fuel for Matt Kenseth. Dave?
The 1 car of Martin Truex is on pit road. They made a 2-tire stop the last time down pit road. Definitely 4 this time for the 1 car, running very well. No wrenches going in the back window, so it'll be air pressure adjustments only for Martin Truex. Loose early, then the car came to him during the run. The 12 car of Jimmy Johnson in, championship leader, right now padding his points lead over his teammate Jeff Gordon. The car is a little loose late off the corner. 4-tire change and an air pressure adjustment. Alan.
Well, Jeff Gordon came on his radio just a little while ago discussing his car's handling after that condition I told you about. Said, you know, if we get 4 tires, I think we'll be okay. Well, he just got him now and got out ahead of Jimmy Johnson, Jamie.
And Tony Stewart has the same complaint a lot of these teams have. He said he's just a little free in the beginning, but as that sun sets, it's cooling down. The car is coming to him. That pit crew trying to redeem themselves after some bad pit stops last weekend. It's a good stop for Tony Stewart. Dave?
And Ryan Newman is in that car real tight, according to the driver. They've already been on the right side. They finished up on the left side and sent him down pit road. Mark Martin also on pit road in front of him.
Pit stops, the order of the day. We are 3 laps away from halfway. Juan Pablo Montoya in front of Mike Massaro.
And Doc, they're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the 42 car. The only thing that Juan was really concerned with, he wanted to know if any fast cars were running the bottom groove. He was told no. He was considering running that groove. He obviously went against that. Meanwhile, the 26 car headed down pit road as well. Jamie McMurray making a stop, a 4-tire change. No major adjustments, just air pressure to that machine.
Here's Casey Mears, a 25 car who was being shown as the leader. Remember, he will move to the 5 car next year with Alan Gustafson as a crew chief. Still is a part of Hendrick Motorsports. Coming down for his pit stop on lap 132 at 45 miles an hour. They're cycling through this second section of major pit stops for everyone under the green flag. He heads down to Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get there at that pit road speed limit, doesn't it, Doc? 4-tire change coming up here for Casey Mears. We talked about this being the last race for that number 25 for Hendrick Motorsports. Casey's car, he feels like the adjustments they made on the last pit stop helped. They're going to go a little more on this pit stop as they work toward the nighttime hours, and this track continues to cool. Mike?
And Reed Sorensen looking for a clean pit stop. Remember last time, the Jackman hit the deck. This time clean, though. He's away.
Pit stops continuing. You see Reed Sorensen exiting the 17 car, now cycling back as a leader. Now, this is a Roush Fenway car. We told you the guy who's won the last 3 in a row here, a Roush Fenway car, and that was Greg Biffle. And we had Greg Biffle as our guest there during our qualifying show in the pit studio on Friday. And he said when the track gets cool and the sun goes down, our cars get really, really good for us to change significantly when it starts to get dark.
Here we got Juan Pablo Montoya just made his pit stop. You see his crew cam right here from Chip Good. He's the rear tire carrier. He carries the tire out here for this rear tire changer. See all the action, how quick these guys have to move. That's to get that tire back to the pit wall, grab this new tire for the left rear, stick this thing on here, and he's got to stick it right on the studs for this tire changer so he can hit all 5 nuts and drive off.
Chip, a former go-kart racer, loves to be able to go over the wall there and change tires for the Ganassi Sabatas team for Juan Pablo Montoya. A couple of open-wheelers there on the screen. Patrick Carpentier in the 10 car. He'll run full-time in 2008. His second consecutive start here at the end of the year in that 10 car. Going up high, the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. He is the leader. The 1 of Martin Truex is in second position. Kurt Busch, the 2 car, back in third. Remember, Busch had the unscheduled stop for the vibration back on lap 100. Just past the halfway point at Homestead-Miami. Back with more in a moment. This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. Monday Night Football on ESPN continues tomorrow in the thin air of Invisco Field at Mile High as Vince Young leads the Tennessee Titans in a battle against Jay Cutler and the Denver Broncos. Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. Mike Jaws, Tony, Michelle, and our own Susie Colbert will be there out in Denver. Should be a good one coming up on Monday night. Take a look at our Ford lap leaders. Matt Kenseth has led 4 times for 108 laps. Kurt Busch has led 17 laps. You see Ryan Newman there has led 8. Eddie Hamlin. And you remember now Jimmie Johnson has led a lap, so he's gotten the extra 5 bonus points. As we take you up to speed with our lead drivers, starting with Matt Kenseth and Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, what a difference this race is turning out to be for Matt Kenseth. This is his 8th start, and it's the first time he has ever led here. And you mentioned Greg Biffle talking about how good these Roush Fenway Fords come to life when the sun goes down. Well, that's certainly the case for the 17. He's turning up the wick, and that's bad news for the rest of the field. Mike?
It's been kind of a rough summer for Denny Hamlin. In fact, he only has 3 top 10 finishes in his last 12 races. Tonight, though, a completely different story. He describes his car as, quote, awesome. Just minimal changes on that car, a couple of air pressure adjustments. That's about it. Dave?
And confirming what Andy was looking at earlier, Doc, as well, that right front damage on the one car, that is a decal coming off. The reason he got the front damaged in that practice crash, he kind of whipped it around. Back end hit, front end whipped around. They think it's okay, though. 4 tire stop and going good. Jamie?
Well, Tony Stewart, 2-time winner here. He's never won on this new base configuration. He feels like he maybe have the car to win here tonight, but his best finish the last 9 races, 3rd. Dave?
The 12th car this year, well, the performance has been there, according to crew chief Mike Nelson. They've been really proud of that. Trying to finish off the year strong. He's been close a few times. Today, a tight race car that they need to keep adjusting on, Jamie.
And hats off to Dave Blaney. He has been in the top 10 this entire race. It's all about securing the top 35 in the points. He sits 35th right now. He's looking at Daytona, wants a guaranteed spot for he, Bill Davis, and Toyota. Alan?
If the caution were to come out in the next 2 laps, it would be a huge break for Kurt Busch. Remember, he had to pit under the green at lap 99 for the vibration. He right now is cycled back around, and if the yellow came out, all the other leaders would stop. But Kurt's 2 laps away from pitting, and that's going to put him back a lap down. Jeff Gordon is in 7th place now. Gordon's just going around Kurt Busch. Gordon feeling the 4 tires have helped his car. His team saying they really can't do anything foolish and take any silly chances right now, because anything could happen with the 48 until later in the race. They've got to still play slightly conservative as well. Mike?
Juan Pablo Montoya in searching mode right now, searching for the right line on the racetrack. Says he's good on the bottom, just not fast enough. Still trying to find the place where his car reaches optimum performance. He's saying the car gets looser as the run goes on. Dave?
Johnson looking for an edge today, but doesn't want his car to be edgy, and it is a little bit right now in turns 1 and 2. Edgy, according to the driver after that last pit stop. They did make an adjustment. Mike?
Carl Edwards still looking for just a little bit more. It's not quite perfect. He's looking for a wedge adjustment next time in. The command from his crew chief, Bob Osborne, is 3-pronged. Be smooth, be patient, and watch out for the rookie, Patrick Carpentier. He says he's running just a little bit too hard right now. Wants Carl to be very aware of that. Dave?
Well, Mark Martin finishing out the year in the 0-1 car. It's been a good year for him. Highlights include almost winning the Daytona 500, driving a Busch car for Rick Hendrick, and doing what he can for this DEI team as now Ryan Newman has spun in turns 3 and 4, guys.
And boy, that's good news for Kurt Busch. That's exactly what Busch needed, and it happened by his own teammate. Man, that was just unbelievable, Andy. When you never think your teammate's going to spin and help you out.
Ryan Newman spinning here, bringing out caution number 4 on the day, lap 148, and probably mixed emotions right now for Roger Penske. They wanted the caution for the 2 car, but not to have the 12 car bring it out, his other cars. Newman now will bring the car around and try to get service done on his Dodge.
Looks like he's just got a little damage to the front end of the car on the bottom side there. If they can get that fixed, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, the lower air dam's very important on these cars. It's all tucked under a couple inches, so
he's got a little damage on the right rear corner.
So I can add something to the front of that, Andy. Beat that left front fender out. Should be okay.
If we can show you what happened here right in front of the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart is there. Watch Gordon go get by. Ryan Newman kept the car somehow and from going up across the racetrack. Stewart got by, as did the 2 car of Kurt Busch.
here's Jeff Gordon just minding his own business, passing the 20 car. It's like, whoa. Somebody parked in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, he got stopped pretty good, and so did Tony Stewart. He really woed that number 20 car down big time.
Let's go down to Jamie Little as the 17 car is going to be headed to you for his pit stop. Jamie?
Well, some bad news for our leader, Matt Kenseth. He just came over the radio and said, guys, I've lost my primary battery and I have no brake fluid. This is going to make things really difficult tonight. Remember, this happened to him in Dover, and it cost him the entire race. 4 tires, no changes. Let's go to Alan.
Jeff Gordon, center frame, said, I am having a lot of trouble passing guys. His crew chief, Steve Letard, said, your lap times look good. We just need to get up there and race with him. It's going to be a 4-tire change for the 24.
Chankenhouse asking his driver, is it really loose or just a little bit? Let's do a little something, says Jimmy Johnson. That'll be a wedge bar. That'll be a wedge adjustment in the left rear. Air pressure on the right rear. As they come to the left side now, the 24 is going to win that race off of pit road this time.
Clint Boyer gains 10 spots. You see Tony Stewart -5. Kenseth will remain the leader, but boy, that battery issue's got to be worrisome in the 17 pit. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, working caution for the 4th time tonight. Season finale, the Ford 400. The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season. Now, earlier we showed you 4 memorable moments from the 2007 season in our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. We asked you to vote on your most memorable moment. You guys, what do you think? What's your vote?
Oh, man, I'm going for the fight.
Not me, man. I'm going with Junior. I'm sticking with my man right there. I bet it's Junior.
I think the Daytona 500 finish was pretty good there. But
yeah, you guys weren't even close.
You blew my doors off on that one.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s announcement to leave DEI. There is sister Kelly, Rick Hendrick, making an announcement in 2008. He will be a part of Hendrick Motorsports, driving the 88 car. And I'm already hearing from that camp that they are pumped up about how they're going to come out of the box in 2008.
Okay, Carl Edwards is trying to get some of this tape off the windshield. That sun's gone down, so he doesn't need that up there to shield it. So he's pulling it all off. It's all on the inside, and it's got a tab on it that he can grab a hold of. Now you can see the whole track.
Those are not unapproved adjustments.
No, those are approved. That's the only thing we let the driver adjust on, though.
All right, pace car pulls away here. 115 laps to go. Remember the 17 car, you heard Jamie say, possible battery problem, possible problem with brake fluid. How much is that on the mind of the guys on pit road, and how about the guy in the seat of that 17 car?
Boy, he shot out of a cannon right there.
Yeah, as he drives away, he's got all these problems.
He's been good all night long. But I'm really interested in seeing this, because this track has changed so much, how it's going to affect these cars right. We saw last night in the Busch Series race that it changed a lot. The guys that weren't running good in the beginning started running good later on.
But Matt Kenseth has run well from the green flag. Drop the green, he was out front.
Kevin Harvick trying to make a move on the inside of David Stremme. Harvick in the 29 car. By the way, Harvick's teammate, the 07 Clint Boyer, going by there, only took a 2-tire change. That's why he gained so many spots on that exchange on pit road.
Well, if I'm Jimmy Johnson, I've looked at too many cars in my windshield today, man. He's been in the middle of this pack almost all day. Here he is, 3 wide coming off the corner down the straightaway.
It makes you wonder. A guy's been dominant all year long. He's won 4 in a row, and here it's championship week, and he's mired back in all these cars. Doesn't make much sense, but I kind of feel they know what they're doing.
What worries me is there's only 1 car in the garage area, still 42 cars running, so if you have an issue, you can still finish 42nd.
Well, that's what gives these crew chiefs ulcers sitting on that pit box, man.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling when nobody's falling out. They're all there, and even the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., is still on the racetrack and running pretty fast.
Chad Knaus, he's watching this, and he's probably a lot more nervous than Jimmy. Jimmy can use up all that nervous energy driving the car. Chad's got to watch this.
Special day here for a lot of drivers, and talking about farewells. How about Ricky Rudd in the 88 car? Ricky Rudd making his 906th and final career start. His illustrious 32-year career that began back in March of 1975. He'll walk away when this race is over, when the checkered flag waves. 29 poles, 23 career wins, and what a career for Ricky Rudd. And he says goodbye to NASCAR Nextel Cup.
What a great career. And his car owner, Robert Yates, This is his last race as an active car owner, too. And this is somebody that the whole racing community here is going to miss a lot. And he's done a lot in the sport.
NASCAR President Mike Helton mentioned Robert Yates in the drivers' meeting this morning, and the drivers stood and gave Robert Yates a standing ovation. That's how much they appreciate and admire and respect Robert Yates for what he's done for the sport.
Oh, he's one of the best engine builders and car owners in the country. I mean, every time you go to Daytona or some of the bigger tracks, you fear that Yates engines. You go, oh my gosh, what's Robert got up his sleeve this time?
A lot of fast cars here. How about Gordon? Do you get in there? You're running for a championship. Whoa, trouble on the racetrack. Another car sliding. Oh, a couple of cars. It's a Toyota and a Chevrolet. Johnny Sauter.
It took these guys a while.
Sorry.
I watched these guys about 20 laps ago racing real hard with each other, and took them a few laps to finally get it done.
You heard Johnny Sauter say, I just lost it. I'm sorry.
These guys were racing hard, man.
The other car involved is the 83 of Brian Vickers, one of the Red Bull Toyotas, bringing out caution for the 5th time today.
That's too bad. Looks like that 70's got a lot of damage in the front.
10 was involved. Patrick Carpentier, one of the Gillette Evernham cars, as he is on pit road.
Boy, Patrick Carpentier's had a tough week so far. Crashed last night in the Busch Series race also.
Well, it looks like Johnny just got loose. Hits that wall hard, boy.
Boy, right at the end of that pit wall, too. It just tears the front end all the heck on that car. You see Vickers come in there. He just piles in behind. That was way late, Vickers getting in there.
Makes you think, yeah, here we go. Yeah, you're going to say it must have been a chain reaction thing because that was a late spin by the 83.
Yeah, and as a driver, Andy, you see all this smoke coming, and when the smoke's coming, you start checking up, and it causes these chain reactions, and that's what happened there.
Johnny Sauter climbing out of the 70 car for the final time. Scott Riggs will move over to that team in 2008. Frustration for Sauter, who's had a pretty good year in that 70 machine. Back in a moment.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Ford 400 on ABC. Brought to you by Pennzoil Platinum, full synthetic motor oil with adaptive molecules. Aflac. Want to meet Carl Edwards and the Aflac Duck? Visit AflacRacing.com for more details. Coca-Cola. Thanks for drinking. And Subway. Subs that are full-flavored and delicious. Subway restaurants satisfy the craving. Subway. Eat fresh.
Tonight, the biggest music stars on the planet come together with live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. And for the first time ever, your vote will decide who wins. Hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and broadcast live from the Nokia Theater, LA, the American Music Awards live coming up tonight following our race coverage right here on ABC. Under caution for the 5th time tonight. Contact the 70 car, Johnny Sauter, and a little contact behind him, Brian Vickers, in the 10 car, Patrick Carpentier. Has brought out the yellow flag. 106 laps to go. Matt Kenseth has had the best car. First time he has ever led a lap in racing here at Homestead-Miami Speedway in a Cup car. And he is certainly making up for it tonight. 5 times he's led for 125 laps. While we're under yellow, why don't we visit with our in-race reporter, the 99 car, Carl Edwards, sitting back in 14th position.
Hey, Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace up at ESPN. You got us.
Got you, Rusty.
Hey, buddy, what's the transition of the track doing right now from daytime to nighttime? Is it much different at the moment?
For me right now, we've been freeing the car up, so the car is real loose on the short run. I'm just trying to survive that and get going, man. We got to get up there with the 1 and the 11 so they don't get my spot there at the banquet.
Yeah, I can tell you're racing for the points, that's for sure. You're doing a good job at it right now. You see most of the passing happen on the top side of the track or the bottom side? Where's most of the cars passing at out there, Carl?
On the short run, it seems like you can pass on the bottom pretty well. It gets choked up, but long runs at the top for sure. It just seems like the momentum's so important, and the way the banking changes here, that's the place. So hopefully we can get a couple on the bottom, move up here in about 10 laps and be fast.
All right, buddy, have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
Trusty.
Hey, Bob Osborne, Andy Petrie, you got a copy?
Coming inside.
Hey, Bob Osborne, Andy Petrie, you got a copy?
Yeah, Andy, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. Just watching you guys' progress. Have you been adjusting on your car, and what kind of adjustments have you made so far?
We did
did some track bar adjustments, some wedge adjustments, and air pressure adjustments. So we're freeing it up a little bit at a time here. Each time we stop with these long green flag runs, we got to be freer than we had expected here. So we're trying to do it. I'm gonna cut you off here, coming to green. So take it easy.
Okay, Bob, you're all business, man. Good luck.
Bob Osborne, the crew chief for Carl Edwards, a 3-time winner this year in 2007, having a pretty good run here.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. And Bob's got a lot on his mind right now. You can tell. Usually he's a little more chipper or excited. He's pretty focused right now, Andy.
Intense. He's kind of cutting us off right there.
Remember the Roush Fenway guy said when it gets dark, our cars get good. Remember Greg Biffle, who's won the last 3 in a row, said we were terrible here. We were awful until it got really dark, and then we were almost unbeatable. Maybe myself and my teammates will be that way. Well, one of his teammates has been unbeatable even in the daylight, that being the 17 car of Matt Kenseth.
He's watching that volt gauge, though, if he's got a battery issue, and some things may be brewing in that car that haven't shown up yet.
Let's see what he does when he jams the throttle for the restart. Will he have the voltage to pull away as he did a moment ago from Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex? Kevin Harvick is a lap down on the inside. He's going to try to hang there and get the lap back the hard way by racing for it instead of getting the free pass. Here's Hamlin. He is there. Watch the 24 car. Jeff Gordon back in 4th position.
And boy, this is the time of the race drivers really love it. This track is cool right now, and it's fast. When you put 4 tires on, you can really get after it on these restarts. The car sticks really good.
Jeff Gordon struggling behind his teammate, the 5 car, who was a lap down, trying to get around the 5 of Kyle Busch.
You see the 24 car smoking just a little bit. Andy, we've seen that a lot out of this car throughout the day. Looks a little tire smoke from somewhere.
I've seen it all weekend long. That right front tire rubbing the fender. They're traveling these cars so much that the tire rubs the fender in the hood area.
More on Jeff Gordon. Let's check in with Alan Bestwick.
Well, let's check in with Jeff Gordon and Steve Letarte. Their radio conversation under the caution about their car at this point in the race.
Not bad. I mean, I roll in there, I arc in there, and it's pretty good. And right as I get to the middle, it starts to get a little snug. And when I pick up the throttle, it's a little on the tight side. And then down there, 1 and 2 is my biggest. I'm pretty decent down here in the bottom 3 or 4. It's through 1 and 2 that it starts off good. It just gets real tight as I land in there and get the throttle. I just can't do anything to get it to rotate.
And while there's a lead change on the left-hand side of the screen, we follow up one more time with Jeff Gordon. He's running the bottom because so many guys are running the top. If you want to pass people, you got to go where they're not.
Well, that's a good point. You just can't follow a guy if you think you're going to pass him. If you think you go to the top, go to the top. If you get on the bottom, go to the bottom. And if you got momentum, you got an opportunity to do whatever you want at that point. And he's got some momentum now, so he's going around the top side.
Jeff Gordon running in 4th position. The guy he's chasing in points, actually behind him on the racetrack, Jimmy Johnson, just moved into 8th spot. Denny Hamlin, our leader, the 17 car of Kenseth in 2nd spot. Martin Truex Jr. creeping up there in that 1 car. There comes the 1 car. And he is actually faster that time by than either one of the cars in front of it.
You saw 3 different grooves right there from those top 3 guys. You saw the bottom, top, and the middle with Martin Truex running in the middle of the racetrack. Love this racetrack.
Now, we need to remind everybody this place has got progressive banking. There's 3 different grooves here. It starts off at 18 degrees on the bottom, 19, then 20 at the very top of the track. So these guys can run all over it. It's a great innovation they did here at this track.
99 laps to go, and folks, in this race a year ago, we had rookies finish 2nd and 3rd. The 2nd place finisher was Martin Truex, who finished 2nd this race a year ago, and who finished 3rd? Denny Hamlin. Oh, trouble in turn 4, the 38 car. 38 car, that's actually off of turn 2. David Gilliland, the Robert Yates Racing car, brushes the wall, and we stay green. Thought he was going to lose it and come across the racetrack, but he did not. Great job.
Yeah.
Boy, he hit that wall pretty good, too. He thought there was enough stuff flew off that car. The caution flag might come out, but it's still green right now. And look at the damage on the right front. It's tore up pretty good there. They can peel that back, though.
He's pancaked that thing good.
Show you over between turns 1 and 2, right in front of the 42 of Montoya.
Boy, Montoya actually got into him a little bit because the 38 of David Gilliland really slowed down. But, Andy, it looks like the back of the car kicked out. And then when he slowed up, Montoya just had nothing to do, and he just got in the back of him a little bit there.
Inside of 100 laps to go, Denny Hamlin, who started 33rd last year and finished 3rd. Folks, he started 32nd this year, and he is leading here. Hamlin, our leader. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Welcome back to the Ford 400. Denny Hamlin is our leader. Aerial coverage from high above Homestead-Miami Speedway, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. This is the farewell race for this race car here. It will be full time for the COT car, the car of tomorrow, which will become the car of today.
So we can keep the COT. We just can't call it car of tomorrow. We call it car of today.
And boy, I want to know what they're going to do with 700 of these cars. We talked about, 50 teams, 15 cars a piece. Man, there is a lot of cars going to be available for somebody to put in their garage or do something.
Richard Schroeder said if you want to get one, you can get one really cheap, and you just put it out in the yard and go out and sit in it if you want to. It's a buyer's market, obviously. Here about the 17 car. And some of these people are donating cars to different charities and different groups, we're told.
Yeah, we're hearing Richard Petty's donating some of his cars to universities to teach some of these kids about racing. Because right now, Andy, they're sitting in these schools and really don't have the real cars, the real hot rods, I call them, to play around with.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for a lot of schools to get some real race cars, current race cars, to look at.
Guys in ARCA are going to be able to get some great race cars to run next year, and of course other areas within NASCAR, the divisions of NASCAR.
I'll guarantee you're going to see a lot of restaurants with these cars bolted on poles parked out front too.
Dave?
And Doc, you hit it on the head. You can run this race car in the Busch Series next year if you want to, and that's going to help carry on a tradition with a generation of Earnhardts. The Earnhardt Jr.'s cars, Martin Truex's cars, Paul Menard's cars, those are going to be shared by a young man named Jeffrey Earnhardt, his nephew, and a guy named Trevor Bayne. They're going to run those in the Busch Series and hopefully gain some footholds in that series. Do you think some of these cars, maybe not this one in particular, because it's had some contact, but a lot of good race cars that they can use to learn in that series following this season?
Well, in fact, this year, Chase Austin, the yellow fellow drives for me, Andy. It's a 110-inch NASCAR Nextel Cup car. You can run the Busch cars also, but we actually found out they give you a 50-pound weight break if you run a Cup car, and they were actually faster with these cars. So the Busch Series, the Busch East Series, will be pretty good there.
By the way, Jeffrey Earnhardt is the son of Kerry Earnhardt. He, of course, obviously is the grandson of the late Dale Earnhardt Sr. as well. So continuing that tradition, as Dave was talking about, having an Earnhardt as a part of DEI in the Busch East Division.
See Jeff Gordon in his 24 cars running down the 11. Denny Hamlin. These two guys are racing each other, and Gordon kind of caught up with him here.
One thing I'm noticing right now, we talked about the transition of daytime to nighttime. It looks as though that it's starting to affect some of the cars, although the one holding pretty strong is Kenson throughout the day. Looks like he's got a setup that doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. And evidently, Robbie Reiser's staying up with the racetrack on his adjustments, too.
It seems like that one car really likes to run a lot of laps. So the more laps they run, the better his car gets. The 17's just been good all day, so he's good no matter what.
This is one of the best runs I've seen of Jeff Gordon out of the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's hanging in there real good, 3rd spot right now, but he's about 0.3 of a second slower than the leader, Matt Kenseth.
Andy, we heard at the top of the show the 24 car was having a lot of trouble with the nose of the car beginning to slip and slide. With the track cooling off, how much better is going to help you? Is it going to help the whole car, or will it just help the front of the car?
Well, it can actually make the nose scoot more. So if they have a push, they need to start working on it. Look at this one car. He's starting to come alive here. But if the car is tight and the track gets cooler, the car's going to get tighter. So they have to start adjusting on this car.
Yeah, and every single pit stop, I'm going to want him to loosen my car up, take some wedge out, put some air in the right rear tire, something to make that car turn better, because as it gets cooler, just like you said, Andy, the track's not going to change the same. Something's going to happen.
Still 4 positions separating Jeff Gordon on the right side of your screen from Jimmy Johnson on the left. Now, Jeff Gordon basically has run in front of Jimmy Johnson for the majority of the day. The bad news is he's not far enough in front of him to be able to make up a significant amount of points. 73 points of differential right now. But, folks, there are still 39 cars on the racetrack. So if Jimmy Johnson has troubles, he can still have a pretty poor finish, and Jeff Gordon could become a champion. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, final race in the chase. In 79 laps, the Nextel Cup champ will be crowned. The story in the FedEx race rundown. Points leader Jimmy Johnson started the day on the pole. He only needs to finish 21st or better now to win, and he is safely in 8th. Last race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8, and for DEI, we know the entrance to pit road is tricky. He found it early.
He really did. Had a tough day thus far, Susie. Got to an accident early. He's had a tough season, and it continues here today.
And Jeff Gordon and Steve Letarte looking for any way to make up ground on that 48 team.
They are pulling out all stops, but Jimmy Johnson did a great job by leading the first lap, getting those 5 bonus points, and he has further widened the gap between himself and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, well, Jeff said the car isn't bad, but he sits in 4th. That's certainly not enough to get it done.
Not the place he wants to be. He needs to be leading the most laps as possible and running up front. He's just not been able to get there today.
We talked about the race within the race. Only the top 10 go to New York. Right now, Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin are out of that mix, Doc.
Thank you, Susie. Brad, by the way, the 83 car, Brian Vickers driver, and Johnny Sauter both checked out and released at the Infield Care Center after that pretty hard lick back on lap 158. That brought out caution number 5. Matt Kenseth, we told you he's coming off of 4 consecutive top 5 finishes. It's been feast or famine for Kenseth in the chase. He's either had really good runs, 5th, 4th, 2nd, and 3rd the last 4 weeks, or he's had 4 finishes of 26th or worse early in the chase. He's either been real good or real bad, and tonight he is really good.
But Doc, you know, talking about Martin Truex a little while ago, talking about the points, trying to get in the top 10 to go to New York. He's only 16 points behind the 31 car of Jeff Burton, and Burton right now is a lap down.
How important is it to sit up on that stage or go up on the stage in that top 10, Russ?
It's very important. I love being there. If you're not in the top 10 of New York, you feel humiliated. You don't even want to go up there. So these guys are just desperately wanting to get in the top 10, that's for sure.
Martin Truex has come so far this year with his career after being a rookie a year ago, finishing 2nd in this race. So he finished the 2006 season on a high note. Picked up his first win this year, one of 4 first-time winners. He won at Dover in only his 58th career start, and obviously would love to be able to go to New York in the top 10. It would certainly help his sponsors. Yes, the yellow flag is waving here for the 6th time. 06, Sam Hornish Jr. making his 2nd ever Cup start, and he has tagged the concrete there with the right side of his Dodge.
Well, he's pounded that thing.
Looks as though that the suspension's not tore up on it. Let's take a look here. He gets in the corner just real high again. Gets up and scrapes that wall. And we were talking earlier. He's been running the real high line all week long in this car. And there's a lot of grip up there, a lot of speed, but boy, there's no room for air.
It's just risky up there.
All right, money stops coming your way. Let's go down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Hey, this is where the crapshoot comes in, folks. We got to put a little bit more tape on the nose of this car. What we're going to do, we're trying to plant the nose of this thing, get us more downforce so we can run those corners a little bit better. Jeff Gordon, he's got nothing to lose. He's got to go for it right now.
Yeah, Tim, you're probably going to see some of these guys putting tape on the grill because it's getting cooler. They're looking for that front downforce to keep these things from sliding around.
For more information on adjustments, log on to ESPN.com, search word know-how. If you just joined our coverage, Jeff Gordon's guys have been talking about the nose of his 24 car slipping and sliding. If they put some tape on it, as you saw Tim Brewer show you, maybe they can plant that nose, and Gordon needs to be able to plant that car at the front of the field and at least lead a lap and maybe hope that something's going to happen to the guy he's chasing in the points, Jimmy Johnson. Cruise up on the wall. And folks, when they stop here, they should be able to make it easily on one more pit stop. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
And Matt Kenseth in first gear, 4,800 RPM as he makes the long trek down pit road. He said his car's still a little loose, which is the reason why he's not running as fast as the others. 4 tires, a wedge adjustment. That's it for the 17.
Mike Ford has been calling for minute changes on the 11 car all day long, and this is another one. They're going to go down an 1/8 of a round on the left rear, 4 tires and fuel. Alan?
And Jeff Gordon, that lower left-hand box, his crew discussing, doing what Tim Brewer described just a minute ago, putting some tape on the nose of that car. It's going to be a 4-tire change and adjustments on the 24, Dave.
After saying it was pretty good, Jimmy Johnson said, if we want to go faster, more comfort into the corner, turn the center better, and more grip up. That'll be a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment for the 48 crew.
Jeff Gordon's crew will beat the 48 out. And how about Kenseth? 12.5 seconds for Robbie Reiser and company down there. Great pit stop on the 17. Kurt Busch up a couple of spots. Denny Hamlin back 3 positions. Working caution for the 6th time tonight. Lap 193. Sam Hornish's Dodge has contact with the wall. Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, ESPN coverage on ABC. We'd like to thank all the fans and viewers that have welcomed us back into your living rooms on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons and Sunday evenings throughout the year for our coverage of NASCAR. NASCAR motorsports coverage. It is certainly a mission of joy and love for us, and it is a journey. We're thrilled that our journey is just beginning here with NASCAR Busch Series, soon to be the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and NASCAR Nextel Cup, which will become the NASCAR Sprint Cup in 2008. 71 laps to go here as we bring down the curtain on the 2007 season, and we will crown a champion here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Matt Kenseth trying to pick up the win. Jimmie Johnson trying to pick up a title. Jeff Gordon having something to say about that. Gordon in 4th position. Jimmie Johnson back in the 6th spot.
Boy, Johnson, he is just not laying back. I mean, he's not been super fast, but he's been consistent. He's in a position where he's got to be, Andy, in order to win this title.
Boy, I tell you that he's had to dodge a lot of cars. He's had to see a lot of cars in that windshield. It just makes it a lot tougher. Like to see that car out front.
Our Brad Doherty says the 17 car, Matt Kenseth's going to win. We'll have to wait and see. He's looking good right now.
Looking awfully good. He will come down to the green flag, and they stack up behind him. Truex, the 2-car of Busch, and then Jeff Gordon as he takes the green and sail into 1.
Well, these guys in these restarts, I mean, they just go like the Banshee. You see Kevin Harvick down there trying to get a lap back, trying to get going, and just flying around the bottom of that racetrack.
His teammate, Jeff Burton, just got the lucky dog. He's back on the lead lap now, so Harvick's fighting to get his back.
Here comes the 1 car of Martin Truex. He is digging to try to get there as well. Pulls it within about 5 feet. Now pulls to the inside of the 17 car, and he's got a lap car on the bottom of the racetrack. Harvick and Kenseth. Is he going to be able to get between them? Whoa!
Tight racing.
And boy, that 31 car, Jeff Burton getting back in the lead lap. That's not at all what Martin Truex wanted to see, because Martin's chasing him to get up in the top 10, and now he's going to be chasing the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. As right now our points are showing Harvick in the 10th position.
Top 10 the points, remember, in the NASCAR chase. Those are the ones that go on the stage. Top of your screen, that's the running order on the racetrack. Line number 2 in the chase shows you where they are in terms of points. Jeff Gordon 81 points back of the 48 car Jimmie Johnson right now.
Boy, some of the lap times they're turning out there right now, guys, are some of the fastest I've seen all day. In fact, they are the fastest laps we've seen since the start of the race. So, Andy, a lot of speed in that racetrack right now.
The cooler it gets, the faster they go. We're going to see these cars even get faster before the race is over.
1 car trying to move on the bottom of the racetrack. He got down there before, but he couldn't hold it because he had Harvick there. Now he has Harvick behind him somewhat. See if Truex can hold that bottom group and be able to make the pass. No, he still can't.
Well, right now you see Harvick sitting in the 3rd, car back, but he is actually the first guy going for the lucky dog, and behind him it's Kyle Busch, and he can see him back there. So Harvick, he can't get out of the throttle. All Andy, he's got to go for it right now.
Here comes Jeff Gordon, 3 wide off turn 4. He's catching these guys while they're racing each other. Gordon can afford to be aggressive here. He just is as aggressive as he wants to be.
I like this position Jeff Gordon's in right now. I mean, he probably doesn't. He wants to be leading the points, but because he's the chaser, he can chase and get aggressive and get mean and get angry and go for it.
If you're Steve Letarte and the guys behind the wall, how much are you liking the fact that your guy, a 4-time Cup champion, Jeff Gordon, is up on that steering wheel just driving for all he's worth right now?
Oh, they love this guy, man. And they know they're getting Jeff Gordon's 100% every lap. They go to battle for him.
Alan Bestwick.
Well, Doc, the one thing that they want to keep in mind, and Steve Letarte talked about this with me this morning up at their team's hauler, there are still so many cars on the racetrack that if Jimmie Johnson has a problem now and they keep running in the top 5, they're going to win the championship. So they want their driver to be aggressive and be up in that top 5. They don't want him to be so aggressive that he chances crashing the car until they get closer to the finish, just in case something were to happen to the 48 car. Now I want to talk about the guy who's 3rd in points starting this day. We talked about different races within the top 10. The Clint Bowyer car has a vibration. They think it's an engine problem. Bowyer is trying to hang on. Kyle Busch was 155 points behind him starting the day. If Bowyer were to fall out of this race, Kyle Busch Busch is a lap down right now. If somehow Kyle can come back and get a good finish, he might steal third away in points and make it a 1-2-3 for Hendrick. But Boyer will have to fall out, and Kyle's going to have to come back and have a really good finish for that to be a possibility. Right now, he's back in 22nd place.
Thank you, Alan. A little bit of a wobble there for the 5 car. And the point is, the 48 car, they realize that there are still 30 or 40 cars on the racetrack. And say if something were to happen right now to 48, as you see Kyle Busch there back in the pack, if something were to happen to Jimmie Johnson right now and say he would end up going to the garage area and finish 40th, all the 24 car have to do is finish about 16th and he could win the championship.
He's in third right now, so that wouldn't be a problem.
There are so many scenarios how Jimmie Johnson can lose this thing, but as long as he stays clear of all these guys like he is right now, he's in safe territory. Whoa, that's tight right there, 3 wide. And these are 2 cars trying to run down Kevin Harvick to get that lucky dog.
48 car of Jimmie Johnson, 24 of Jeff Gordon. Both these cars, as well as the 5 of Kyle Busch, owned by one Rick Hendrick. And we talked to Chad Knaus about Rick Hendrick's vision for these teams.
His goal was to have these 2 teams battling for wins and battling for championships at all costs. And the way that he put it together was we weren't going to have 2 teams in one building. We were going to have 1 team with 2 race cars. And it's a completely different approach. As you walk into any other competitor shop, you'll see one group of cars on one side of the facility, another group on the other side of the facility, and they're segregated. What we've got going on in the 24-48 shop isn't that way. The 80-plus people that we've got working there, they all work on each other's cars.
And it's called the Hendrick way. Rick Hendrick, you saw him a moment ago. That's the way he runs his dealerships, the way he runs his businesses. It's all about cooperation, hand in hand. It just makes everyone better in terms of the team concept. Dave?
And Doc, this week, Rick Hendrick said one more of the ways that he does things he's going to do for the 48, or try to do, that he did for Jeff Gordon in 1999, and that was to sign him to a lifetime driving contract. Rick saying, my goal is simple, to keep Jimmie Johnson with me for as long as he races. Now they become more similar if he gets that to happen.
That's a pretty cool concept, you know. These 2 cars in one shop is one team. So instead of the crew guys going to work with a 24 shirt and another guy having a 48 shirt, they all go to work with a Hendrick shirt.
And when you walk in that shop, those cars are like 10 feet away up on jack stands. So they park 8 feet away in the garage area at the racetrack, and they're about 10 feet away in that shop at Hendrick Motorsports just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, Gordon's working hard underneath Mark Truex Jr. trying to get this spot. He's got one of the fastest cars on the track right now.
Well, there's one thing for sure, Andy. This 24 car, as his sun has went down and the track is cool right now, we're in the nighttime here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. This definitely helped this 24 car. Whatever he had going on at the beginning of this race, this cooler track has fixed it.
Jeff Gordon working over the back of the 1 car, trying to get there. Remember, he has yet to lead a lap today. He needs to get up and lead those. All that helps. That's a quick 5 points. And you never know, as you heard Alan Bestwick say, with so many cars on the racetrack, the 48 can't get too aggressive because one mistake, and he gets a terrible finish. Last time by, Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, faster than the leader.
Martin Truex not making it easy on Jeff Gordon right here.
Yeah, boy, if Jeff Gordon can clear Martin Truex, we're going to see how fast he really is, because he's getting pinned down at the bottom of the track more than he really wants to be. And I got to believe he just needs more room to slide that car up off the corner to get it going.
Yeah, you get it. He's making it just a little bit at a time here. Still can't get clear, though.
Last 2 years, the winner of this race at Homestead-Miami Speedway has not taken the lead until lap 214 last year. Greg Biffle took the lead finally, and lap 230 in 2005 it was Greg Biffle. So folks, it's about now when someone begins to emerge toward the front and goes on and wins this race by history. We'll see if that someone this year is the 1 car, or maybe it's a 24 making the move. Rick Hendrick, 2 drivers battling for a championship. Either way, he's going to become the recipient of a 7th Cup title.
This is why I'm hot. This is why.
We welcome you back to the Ford 400, where Matt Kenseth continues to cruise on our lead. And this the final NASCAR race of the season, the 36th race. And the 2 teammates who are dominating, and their story is worth telling again. because Jimmy Johnson, a few years back, wanted to crash into the Cup Series. He approached Jeff Gordon, who was his hero. He said a couple of teams had come after him. He'd been successful in feeder circuits. Jeff said, hang on. He went to Rick Hendricks and he said, you know, I think this young man's got some skill. Let's see if we can get him a ride. And Rick said to him, Jeff, you put your money where your mouth is. And ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Gordon owns part of the car that Jimmy Johnson is piloting toward a back-to-back chase trophy here today. The only thing that is going to cost Jimmy Johnson consecutive titles is bad racing luck. Think of what's going on right now as the Tour de France. The man in the yellow jersey is driving number 48. He's in a cocoon. No one wants to tango with him. Rusty Wallace will tell you what drivers are like right here. They do not want to be the guy in the black hat at this moment. If there is bad luck, then yes, Jeff can win. Otherwise, folks, we're going to have back-to-back championships by one Jimmy Johnson. Up we go to speed now. Let's start off here. Jamie Little. Jamie.
Hi, Brett. The man crashing the party at the front of the field all night long. Matt Kenseth. After that quick last pit stop, 12-second pit stop, they made a small adjustment to cure that loose condition. He hasn't said a word on the radio, and if you ask the team, they say Matt not talking is a great thing. He continues to charge home, looking for his first victory here. Dave?
The end of the year has been good for this one team. Martin Truex and team accomplishing some goals they really wanted to as they race side by side with Kurt Busch right there. One of them was getting a pole so they can race at the Budweiser shootout at Daytona. They accomplished that at Texas. Here they're running well once again, finishing second in this race before. They'd like to win it, but running strong at the end of the year. Another year-end goal. Alan.
What a night it's been for Kurt Busch, who just took over the second spot. Lap 78, the problem on the left rear of the pit stop. Lap 99, a green flag pit stop, went to 33rd place, a lap down. Lap 149, got a yellow flag just as he was about to have to make a green flag pit stop that got him back onto the lead lap. He might be a race winner later. He's fast. Watch him. Jeff Gordon just calling into Steve Letarte, his crew chief right now, describing the handling on their car. Gordon talking about losing a little bit of the security as far as the feeling of his car as it gets into the corner. Still having some trouble with the front end grip the longer they run on this set of tires. Look for Gordon to pit around lap 244 if we stay green, Mike.
Denny Hamlin trying to make a move around the outside of Jeff Gordon to pick up a spot. They're dead even as they head through the corner. Hamlin said after they fell out of contention for the championship, he was adjusting his goals. The attitude was just to go for wins. That's what they've done tonight. Right now the car pretty good. He says it's a little bit loose up top, but tight on the bottom, but looking pretty strong right now as he bypasses the 24. Dave?
One of the hardest things for the 48 team to do has been holding back. They've been very fast at the end of this year, and they've won the last 4 races. Today the car has been very good, and recall their last adjustments on pit road. Jimmy said he was fine with the race car, but if we wanted to go faster, let's try some things. Right now they're sort of maintaining, haven't really picked up the track position, but still willing to try things to race fast. Mike?
Carl Edwards came in here with a couple of goals tonight. 1, to get back to victory lane, and 2, to stay inside the top 10. He desperately wants to go to New York. He told his publicist this morning, I want to go there because, oddly enough, he may be the only one to say this, I want to give a speech. Right now he's still in the top 10, although the car is getting just a little bit tight. Jamie?
Well, one man desperate for something as Dave Blaney wants to maintain that top 35 in the points. Right now he's the only Toyota in the top 22. Heck of a run for Dave Blaney tonight. This year, the best finish for Toyota, 3rd at Talladega. It belongs to Dave Blaney. He is quick tonight. He's looking for the future for Bill Davis and, of course, Toyota. Right behind him, Tony Stewart. Tony getting really frustrated with the 41 of Reed Sorensen just a few moments ago, saying he's going to put him in the wall if he doesn't get out of his way. Tony's been battling some loose conditions, tight conditions. He was up there running in the top 2. Now he's slipped back and he maintains a top 10 spot. Dave?
Mark Martin running that low line, Jamie. He's held the 9th spot until just then. That was where he restarted. The car's been pretty neutral all night long. Mark's already had 4 top 5s here at this track, trying to move forward tonight in that 0-1 car. Jamie?
And David Reagan in the 6th car. Congratulations go out to he and Jack Roush for winning the Rookie of the Year standings in the Busch Series. He's actually running for it tonight as well for the Cup Series. Juan Pablo Montoya, of course, would have to have a bad night for him to get that. But right now, David Reagan, the highest running rookie as he completes his first year in the Cup and Busch Series. And right behind him, Jeff Burton, his night got started in a tough way. Just a couple laps in, he had those issues. He had fender rub, then his tire went down. He came in and went a lap down. He continues to forge to the front. This has definitely been a year he's disappointed with. They expected to charge for the championship, and it just has not been that way, especially in the chase. But Jeff Burton
So back up front, the 1 car, Truex, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. You talked about how much Denny Hamlin wants to go to New York and be on that stage. He's on the bottom of the racetrack here. Truex about as far away as he can get until they come off the corner. They nearly come together there on the straightaway.
They've been battling back and forth every single lap. One will go to the high side, one will go to the bottom side. And boy, they got almost identical cars for speed, and they just can't seem to get away from each other.
These guys finished 2nd and 3rd here a year ago in this race behind Greg and Biffle, and they are running 2nd and 3rd here tonight. Make that 3rd and 4th here tonight behind Kenseth and Kurt Busch. 40 laps to go. Remember that final pit stop coming up in about 10 to 12 laps, and that should be very interesting to watch. Matt Kenseth. Tonight, the biggest music stars on the planet come together with live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. For the first time ever, your vote will decide who wins. Hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and broadcast live from the Nokia Theater, LA. The American Music Awards live tonight following this race right here on ABC.
All right, Andy Petrie, I got a question to ask you. We were just talking. If this 23's got 2nd place in the points locked up, right? And these cars are, I mean, they're falling off almost 2 seconds because of tire wear. If he pitted right now, I know it's a gamble. How much time do you think he can pick up? And maybe if it goes green, he can win this race.
This would be a good time for them to short pit and bring Jeff down pit road. Nothing to lose and a lot to gain. Just bring him down pit road. If it goes green, he'll wind up out front and have some track position on these guys. So it'd be worth the gamble. If I was Steve Letarte, I'd just roll the dice right here.
Roll the dice. Why not bring him in? And then if it cycles through, you're at least going to lead a lap, and you may get lucky.
So what if it's a mistake? If it's a mistake, he's still got 2nd to points locked up. But at least he can go for a win if he makes the major gamble, which a lot of these guys can't afford to do.
That's a great idea. I didn't know drivers could think that.
No, you thought that up.
Oh.
You thought that up. Andy Petrie, you thought that up. I just want to let everybody know he did that.
Oh, you've heard that from a crew chief before.
Well, when he said that, it got me all excited. I'm thinking, hey, that's pretty smart. Alan?
Well, Rusty, it came out of your mouths just about the same time. They were talking about it on Jeff Gordon's team radio.
15 away from a pit stop. We're going to have about 20 to go when you leave pit road. I'm going to give you that security back. I tell you what, we're plowing. We need to come early.
That's what Jeff Gordon is saying from the car. He is falling back and losing spots. But again, the counterbalance on Steve Letarte's position is this. What if something happens to Jimmy Johnson in the late laps? That's what's holding him back for now. He's hesitating on pulling the trigger. Andy, you know, what an agonizing call to make the short pit.
It is agonizing, but this is the perfect time to do it. I haven't seen anybody or any reason to think this 48 is going to have any trouble. Just roll the dice. Try to make something happen here.
You're not going to finish worse than 2nd in the points, so why not gamble and go for it?
Come on, Stevie, bring him in.
All right, Alan, go down there and tell him that our Andy Petrie said pit now.
Yeah.
And all Rusty here is going to agree
He's got
with
enough
him.
on his mind without me telling him what to do.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah, he gets paid to make those calls. We'll see what's going to happen here. Now, Jeff Gordon, you heard talking about they were going to pit around lap 244 to 245, and that is just about 7 or 8 laps away. Well, somebody heard you. I think the 1 car may be coming a little bit early. Here's Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. It was being shown back in the 4th position. He damage on the right side from an earlier contact about lap 45. He comes down at 45 miles an hour to make his final stop.
And this move right here could win in the race if the rest of the guys stay in the track.
Dave Burns.
Martin Truex Jr. reporting now that that car is loose off the corner and not that bad. So what they will do is make an air pressure adjustment for him and change 4 tires. Again, most of the way through the corner is just fine. It's just that last little second off the corner that it wants to get away from him. 2 tire stop for the 1 team.
Oh, Bono's rolling the dice here. 2 tires, pitting early. It's probably going to tip the hand of some of these other guys, though. They're going to see this and they're going to, I got to get on pit road. I don't want this guy to get too much time on me. Now it's going to put the pressure back on Robbie Reiser for this 17 car. How long do I leave him out?
Well, how long do you leave him out?
Well, I'm going to pit him pretty quick. I don't want this guy to get much of a lead on me. I might let him. I'll watch him a lap or 2, and then I'm coming down pit road.
How about the guy who's won here the last 3 years in a row? Greg Biffle coming down for what should be his final stop. Mike.
And what's more remarkable, to give you some perspective on how remarkable that 3-race winning streak is, did it with 3 completely different setups, and this will be a fourth. The car has been pretty good tonight, although not spectacular. A 2-tire change you see on the 16 car. Looking for some track position here.
16-car Biffle coming out. Now the 24 crew, we are told, are climbing up on the wall, so maybe they are going to come in a little bit earlier than they had anticipated. There are the DuPont guys for Jeff Gordon. They were talking about pitting. You heard Alan Bestwick say lap 244, 245. It's 241 right now. So maybe they're going to listen to their driver and say, let's get in there and get some tires.
Boy, look what fresh tires does, though. I mean, the one car is just shooting around that 24. Watch that acceleration gone. Boy, new tires. That's Mr. Feel Good right there when you get those babies on you.
This time. 4, 10, 4.
I think he pitted too late, Andy.
Yeah, he pitted too late to get the advantage. Now the move might be to get 4 tires and give up a little track position, but have better tires in case the caution does come out right after this, and then he'll have better tires than the other guys. I'd do something different. I wouldn't do what they're doing.
That's what I'd do. I'd do 4 tires. I agree with you.
Here comes a 24 car, which could possibly be the final pit stop of the year.
Try to fill it up.
And Steve Letarte watching his driver come down pit road here, getting ready to make this stop, talking about it on the radio to Jeff. Here he comes to his pit stall. Now, remember, they've run a full fuel load, so they're going to have to sit here and wait. If they choose to take 4 tires, they won't be here that much longer because they have to get the car. Well, actually, they don't have to get the car full of fuel because they only have a few laps to go. But remember, the car is empty. If they choose to fill it for handling purposes, they'll be there that long for the 4 tires.
All right, they went for the 4 for the handling, and they're going to hope this thing is just going to flat fly on the racetrack right now. While Matt Kenseth is staying on the track, and Kurt Busch and Hamlin. Oh, there he goes. Look at this, Andy.
Here comes Kenseth in. You heard Robbie Reiser, guys. They couldn't afford to leave him out. He's headed down to you, Jamie Little.
And Robbie Reiser perhaps making his last pit call here for Matt Kenseth. He said he's going to short fuel. They're not going to fill it all the way up. It's not needed right now. They're going to do a wedge adjustment, and let's see how many tires they want to take. He's going to make the call. 4 tires for Matt Kenseth. Remember, last pit stop was 12.2, and it's 12.9 again. Alan.
And Kurt Busch was running in second place when he came down pit road. Little trouble on the right rear. Had to go back and catch a lug, it looked like. They'll come around on a 4-tire change here for Kurt Busch. We'll see what kind of time this might cost him to Matt Kenseth, Dave.
Down to the Nerve Center where Chad Knaus came down from the pit box moments ago to have a group huddle with his team. They talked about the final stop, staying together. Jimmy's a little bit close to the pit wall, but they do manage to get the car jacked up just fine. A 4-tire change, slight air pressure adjustment. Pretty comfortable for the driver right now, according to the driver. Mike.
The call from Mike Ford on the 11 cars for 4 tires and fuel, but only a can and a half of fuel. They go to work now on the left-hand side, making their service. There he's down and away. Carl Edwards now in. We mentioned how badly he wants to stay inside the top 10. A very quick pit stop. He's away after a 2-tire change.
And Dave Blaney making his way down pit road. A lot of talk about him tonight. He did the triple duty. He raced the trucks Friday night, Busch last night, and Cup, of course, today. Car's been running great. He's had no problems, hasn't complained about the car at all. Great run for him to end out this season with another top 10 finish. Dave Blaney been the top running Toyota driver for multiple races in a row. Now they're going to do 4 tires, no changes on that 22 for Dave Blaney. Let's go to Mike.
And Juan Pablo Montoya has been searching for the optimum line throughout the course of the evening. Right now he's been running the middle groove. Team looking for a 4-tire change, no major adjustments, a slight air pressure adjustment on the left side. That's it for Juan Pablo Montoya. 14.4 seconds, a good stop. Jamie?
And Rookie of the Year contender David Reagan, another Roush car, guys. We talk about it. The sun goes down. These cars come to life. David Reagan worked his way into the top 10. He qualified great. They're going to do 4 tires. He said he's a little tight off. They put that tape on the front. He's down and away. Talk.
Final 20 laps here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and boy, some guys going 2, some going 4 tires. A 26 car, Jamie McMurray, being shown as the leader, one of the final cars to make a pit stop. He will be the final car to cycle through on the pit road. That would make Martin Truex Jr. the leader, but Truex gets passed by Kenseth. And here comes McMurray down pit road at 45 miles an hour. And here's the battle up front. The 1 car, remember, took only 2 tires. The 17 of Kenseth took 4 tires. And the 4 tires does make a big difference.
It's a big difference, but this 1 car's got that high line, and it's going to be difficult. He's making it difficult on Matt Kenseth. If Matt can get him cleared here, he'll be able to sail on, but yep, looks like he's going to get him cleared here.
You know, it looked like the one car actually pitted about 6 or 8 laps early from when he needed to, but actually Matt Kenseth was due in at lap 245 and hit pit road at 244, so it was pretty well scheduled. Matt came in right when he needed to. Now he's got 4 tires. He's actually the best car on the racetrack, in the best shape at the moment.
Yeah, he's got the lead too, so that doesn't hurt him.
4 tires full of gas and got the lead with 19 to go. Woo, that's feeling good right there.
What about Gordon and Johnson, folks? They've been inseparable in the garage, inseparable on the racetrack and in the point standings, and they are currently 6th and 7th. Jeff Gordon is 6th, and there's Jimmy in 7th spot. 1 position away, and the interval is 87 points. Right now in the standings, remember, Jimmy Johnson led a lap, and Jeff Gordon has not.
This thing's not going to be over to the checkered flag, because if he blows up with 1 lap to go, he's still in trouble. I mean, he has just got to keep pedaling. Actually, if he blows up with 2 laps to go, he's in trouble.
With 1 lap to go, he can probably, yeah, he's in good shape because there's only 16 cars on the lead lap.
And Jerry, what was it? 19th or better, no matter what Jeff Gordon does, he can lock it up. Now, that's if Gordon wins.
And led the most laps. Now it's 21st because Gordon can't lead the most laps. So obviously, Jimmy Johnson would like to finish 21st or better in the running in 7th spot. 17 laps to go. Season finale, Homestead-Miami Speedway. What a dominant performance by Matt Kenseth, who has led 8 times for 197 laps. 1 win this year for Kenseth, that coming early in the year at California, where he swept both the NASCAR Busch Series and Cup races in the same weekend.
Man, I tell you, that car, Matt Kenseth, that is one good-looking car. I like that black and yellow on there, Andy. Hey, what's that remind you of?
Black and yellow, old Miller car I used to see running around.
That old number 2 Miller car, I like that color. I like the way that thing's handling, too. Look at that car. I mean, it's just been, the nose has been on the ground all night long. Matt has been able to maneuver this thing anywhere on the racetrack. It's not over yet, but I'll tell you, he's got a good car tonight.
Well, coming up later tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN, NASCAR Now. We'll close out our season coverage. Updates you on all that happened here in this season finale for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. And, of course, we'll update all the things and how the points broke down and who's going on the stage in New York and more on the championship celebration. 10 o'clock Eastern time, NASCAR Now.
We're going to have plenty of post-race coverage here, too, when this race is over.
Caution, Tony Stewart, issues on the racetrack with the 20 car.
Whoa, man, he's hit this far. He's hit hard here. Tore the whole back end off of it, the left side.
Here, see if we can fix it now.
Here, see if you can fix it now. Obviously, he's probably pretty upset with the way it was handling. He's really upset now.
Tony Stewart, 7th caution flag.
We got to put 4 tires on this thing.
Greg Zipadelli.
And Doc, I was just about to say, I saw the 07 car, Clint Boyer, come down pit road with another problem, and maybe Tony Stewart could have caught him, but now it's not going to happen because they both had the same problem on the same lap.
So we see what happened to Stewart. Top of your screen, the car just by himself just spins backwards and tags the wall and then slams it with the left front.
And you never see Tony Stewart hardly ever losing a car. He's one of the best drivers out here, especially with a loose car, so this thing had to be
Yeah, you got to think
really
he was dealing
loose
with some kind of an issue there because that car just snapped around on him. Okay, what are these guys going to do here?
You can hear the frustration in Tony Stewart's voice. What do you do if you're Kenseth? These guys that have pitted, you don't need to do much. Do you gamble if you're one of the guys on the back part of the lead?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Come on in and get some tires, but Matt's going to stay out here and kind of looks like he's going to make a play for this, and the guy's going to follow him.
He's pretty well got to stay out, Andy. I mean, with
yeah, he's got 4 tires.
I mean, he is so fast right now. It's incredible.
I'm surprised that some more of these guys didn't try to come down pit road and get tires.
Yeah, right now, Mark Truex is thinking, I wish I'd have put 4 instead of 2 on this thing, but he was going for it.
Very few takers among the lead cars. Working caution for the 7th time. Just 13 laps to go here in the 2007 season.
Back at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, Jimmy Johnson races in 7th position with teammate Jeff Gordon in sight. Chad, what are the thoughts right now? You can see the 24. You know where he is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at this point, all we need to do is just kind of keep him in eye shot, and we'll be okay. And it's kind of the goal at this point, right there. If they would have pitted, we probably would have come down and pitted with them. We've played a little bit conservative here at the end, just trying to do what they do to make sure we don't get off sync. When they pitted, we pitted shortly thereafter to make sure we didn't have any problems and stay close to them. And you know, I just can't say enough about this whole Lowe's team and the DuPont team. Both cars sitting here in the season finale, running in the top 10, battling for the championship. It's just a dream come true for what we want to do in our shop. And I just can't say enough about Jimmy. He's just done a phenomenal job all year long.
Allen's with Steve Letarte.
Steve, you've been working on your car all night. Tell us where your race stands right now.
Yeah, the DuPont Chevrolet's just a little too tight here at the end, but you know, we're sitting on 4 tires. A couple guys have 2 tires. We're hoping to get another top 10 out of it, hopefully give Jeff the record. But yeah, I can't say enough about everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. I have these 2 cars, 1, 2 in points. To win as many races as we won this year, I just really feel blessed to be part of this organization. Really proud to be part of it.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve should be proud of the fact that Jeff Gordon could set the record. He was talking about 30 top 10 finishes, the all-time record in a single season. Head-to-head, take a look there. You see 4 wins in the chase, 2 for Gordon. How about 7 versus 8 top 10s? These 2 guys have just dominated this chase for the Nextel Cup here in 2007. 10 laps away from concluding the year here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, in aerial coverage high above Homestead. Brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. How about the Allstate Good Hands move? Now, how many times has Jeff Burton dodged bullets here during this race afternoon? Cars up on the racetrack, a cut tire early on, and they're just able to get underneath Tony Stewart on the most recent caution flag on lap 253. All problems up front with the 17 car. Could there be trouble?
Somebody said something and got these guys alerted there because they jumped up on that wall real quick.
Pace car off the racetrack. Kenseth, remember we told you that he had a battery issue. Does he have the voltage? He's worried about some brake fluid. Can he hang on for 10 more laps? Green flag. Kenseth leads him down. Truex Jr. there. Kurt Busch making a move with a Dodge on the inside for second spot.
Kurt Busch in this 2 car had the fastest car on the track before that caution came out.
And man, he just blew past everybody. Kenseth's got a good start, but Kurt Busch is flying right now.
Now he's got nobody between him and that 17.
And boy, he needed all the time he can to catch the 17 car Kenseth, but we'll see if he can do it. But he did everything he could do now. He's cleared him.
We're hearing possible flat right front or concerns about the right front on the 17 car of Kenseth.
It's pretty fast right now. I think he looks pretty good. I can't imagine he would have a flat tire as fast as his car's running.
Yeah, his lap speeds look real good right now, although Kurt Busch is faster by about 0.2 of a second. And with 9 laps to go, he can catch him, Jerry.
Battle for third, right side of your screen, the 1 and 11. Denny Ham on the 11, the 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. And here comes Gordon into the fray.
Gordon's been great on these short runs, so he might be able to get a couple spots here.
Gordon is 5th right now. Jimmy Johnson, you heard Chad Canal say we just want to keep Gordon in sight. Jimmy Johnson back in 7th position.
Well, I think that 17 car is okay right now. This last time by 1/10 of a second faster than Kurt Busch. Must have had some rubber buildup on the right front tire, causing the driver to feel like the tire was flat, really when it wasn't.
Battle for third position as the 1 car, and now the 24 car. Jeff Gordon up on the steering wheel. 7 laps to go, and they're going to go 3 wide off the corner.
Boy, those 2 tires on Martin Truex is really killing his car right now. The 4 tires with Gordon is just outrunning them big time right at the moment.
Last lap by, the 2 car was faster than Matt Kenseth. He's got 6 laps to get it done.
These 2 are swapping it back and forth, and maybe the 2 car of Kurt Busch can actually get a little bit of a draft off the lead car of Kenseth and catch him in the straightaways, Andy.
Kurt Busch a 10th quicker that lap as well. Laps winding down. 6 laps to go.
You're the man. Go get him, bud.
Got to be nervous as Kenseth has been all night long, leading this race with now Kurt Busch chasing him down. And he thinks he's got it locked up, but he really doesn't at the moment because Busch has just got 1 fast Dodge right now.
See the 24 car flashing by. Gordon now up to 4th position. The 48 car. There's Jimmy Johnson back in 7th spot. He's got to hang on for 5 more laps, and he'll be a 2007 Cup Series champion.
He's just sitting in the rocking chair right there, not going to push anything. Here's Stewart's car, his damaged car limping around here.
Interval stabilized somewhat up front between Kenseth and Kurt Busch, as Kenseth now back up on the wheel, and it stayed at about 10 to 12 car lengths.
They run identical laps last lap.
And right now, Tony Stewart needs to stay going because Kurt Busch is only 20 points behind him at the moment. So it's crucial that Stewart stays on the racetrack to hold that 6th position in the points at the moment.
The 1 car, by the way, you have Truex back 11th in points. You know why he's battling. He wants to get in the top 10 and get on that stage in New York if he possibly can, and also get a good finish here in the finale. Hamlin goes by 3rd. Gordon is 4th. Edwards 5th. And now Truex, as you mentioned, Rusty, only 2 tires. A sitting duck. He is dropping back.
Johnson's trying to get past Truex on the bottom of the racetrack right now. He's been running the middle to the top. Now he's dead on the bottom. He's just going to take advantage.
He's not going to push it. He's not going to push it. He's just 2 laps away from the championship. Only thing that could ruin it here would be to push too hard and wreck the car. So
we watched him all year long, Andy. I think he's going to go for it. What do you think? I mean, he's on that bottom.
He'll take it if it's there, but he's not going to push the issue.
Wasn't going to back into a championship. You see wife Shanny sitting there at right side watching, not wanting, really wanting to watch. Chandra, Jimmy's wife, watching, hoping, and probably wondering about all the discussions they've had the last few weeks.
All right, white flag last lap, guys. It's been a long year.
Jimmy Johnson in 7th position, trying to battle to get in the 6th spot. Up front, Matt Kenseth, dominant performance by the Wisconsin driver in the final ride with Robbie Reiser, his longtime friend and crew chief atop the box. Reiser will bid farewell and become general manager at Roush Fenway. But what a way to go out as Kenseth comes out of turn 4, and Matt Kenseth will win the season finale at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Remember, guys, that was domination. Let's go burn it down. Woo!
Oh, the emotion now. Chad Canals.
Just phenomenal. You guys are awesome. Thank you, boys. We're going to tear it up tonight.
Nothing like back-to-back championship.
And you could see the emotion just pour out in the face of Chandra there. Chandra Johnson, Jimmy's wife, and now Jimmy can put the net down, take a deep breath, because he has done it, folks.
Thank you to everybody on the 24 team. Steve Latarb.
Oh, there's the hug. Chad Canals, oh my gosh, what a family in this Hendrick Motorsports team. And look there, they're the 2 drivers.
86-point lead, but you never know until it's completely over and it's finally done.
Guys, you're off.
There you go. Chad Canals, thank you, everyone. Fantastic. What about Rick Hendrick? He's got to be loving it right now. Both of his cars ran well tonight.
Celebration will begin. The last driver to win back-to-back championships was Jeff Gordon in 97 and 98, and now double burnouts. Matt Kenseth takes the win in dominant fashion, and Jimmy Johnson becomes the champion for the 2nd year in a row. Crew chief Steve Letarte, Chad Canals said, oh, Jimmy's dad, what a big smile there. How proud can they be hugging his daughter-in-law? Rick Hendrick, you heard his story, the rags to riches story, wife Linda. And Kenseth may just have blown the engine in the race-winning car, but he doesn't care. He celebrates, and there's the championship flag for Jimmy Johnson. He began the day on the pole in the final race of the year, and he ends the night as the series NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Chad Canals getting probably the hug from the man who appreciates it most, Rick Hendrick, car owner. Chad, last year was an accomplishment for the whole 48 team, actually for the whole organization. What does it mean to repeat?
Man, I don't know. It still hasn't hit me yet. It's a testament to these guys and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports and what they do and the preparation that goes into what happens with our race cars, with our engines, with our chassis. I mean, just everything. It was such a difficult season for everybody with the COT and the development of that car and that chassis, and then obviously with General Motors and NASCAR bringing out the R07 for the Chevrolet teams, it was even more difficult for us. And the guys in the engine shop just did a great job, Jim Wall and Jeff Andrews, of getting those engines out there for us and making it to where they would live and build great power. So I just don't, I mean, I'm beside myself, I'll be quite honest. It's a great day, it's a great feeling, and man, I can't wait for Daytona.
You guys didn't have too many hiccups out there at all today. How difficult was it to dial back this weekend, Chad, and just make sure you didn't lose?
Well, we really didn't dial back. You know, obviously we came here with the thought process of doing everything we could to sit on the pole. We were fortunate enough to be able to do that. We wanted to have a race car that Jimmy could really do whatever he wanted with, and fortunately enough, we were able to get it. It's not always easy to do, but our car was really, really good today, and I kind of wish we weren't going for the championship because maybe we'd been a little bit more aggressive and tried to go for the win. But obviously, you have to do what's first and foremost on your mind, and that was win the championship. It's a long season, and for the guys out there that we're racing against, it's pretty phenomenal what we've had. And you know, congratulations to Robbie Reiser and Matt Kenseth. You know, Robbie, his last race as crew chief with Matt, to go out there and win. That's pretty phenomenal.
All right. Well, Chad, Jimmy said something about a party, so we'll let you go. Congratulations, and once again, Chad, thanking everyone at Hendrick Motorsports. That's a big team effort. Mike.
And Dave, speaking of parties, there's a party in the 17 camp, no doubt. Robbie Reiser just leaned in the cockpit and congratulated Matt, but this is a pretty special win, I would imagine, for you as you walk off a winner here in Homestead.
Oh, no doubt about it. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Jimmy Johnson, that whole race team, and Hendrick Motorsports for what they've done. But man, did we come on at the end of the season, you know, what a performance by our team. You know, we got so far behind in this chase, and it looked like we weren't going to get out of 12th there for a while, but coming run like this at the end of the year is just a privilege to be a part of this 17 bunch. I mean, the DeWalt guys have been on the money on pit road all season long, and this is the end of my DeWalt segment, I guess, if you want to say that. But I'll be back to work tomorrow morning working on race cars. So, you know, I'm trying to help them win another championship and help Roush Fenway win a championship. But what an honor and a privilege to work with Matt Kenseth and that whole group, and really looking forward to Chip Bowl and taking this team over and doing a lot better job than I did.
To win in your final race as a crew chief, what are the emotions right now?
Well, you know, I'm not a real emotional guy. You know, I just I enjoy racing. I love to race. My dad brought me up that way. You know, that's what I am. I'm a racer.
Congratulations, Robbie.
Thanks a lot.
Not a bad way to walk off, Doc.
Robbie Reiser saying farewell. What an effort. Matt Kenseth, he blew a tire with that burnout. And he finishes the year as a winner at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Jamie Little.
Oh, it's a Gatorade bath down here. Matt Kenseth, the end of an era today with this traditional car. This win, you go out with this win and the last win with your crew chief. What does this win mean to you, Matt?
It means we're getting wet right now, but it's a great feeling. I just feel like I really let these guys down. We lost a lot of close races this year, so feels great to win a close one. Congratulations to Jimmy and Rick Hendrick and them guys. And really want to thank DeWalt, Car, USG, Renai, RNL Trucking, RNL Carriers, and all our sponsors that make this happen. This is an awesome ride today.
Talk about that last restart. You came over the radio and scared your entire team thinking something was wrong with the car.
I used to pull that one on Robbie all the time. You know, they say I got a big imagination, but I really did think it. You know, whenever you're leading, you always think that. But I must have got a big piece of debris on the right front tire and started shaking a little bit. And as soon as I got to one, it rubbed off. So it was a pretty dominating day. It was pretty fun.
How about you and Robbie's ride? From the beginning, he's the only crew chief you've ever known. What are you going to miss about working with him?
Well, it's cool going as a win, you know, and I'm going to miss working with him on Sundays, but, you know, he's not going far. You know, he's going to manage the shop, and I really think that his presence is really going to be a big plus for everybody at Roush Fenway Racing. I think it'll make everybody stronger, and, you know, I miss him doing it, but yet I'm looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to making the company stronger.
You going to take this car home now?
I don't know. I blew the quarter panel off it, so at least we don't have to race it again.
They're not ever going to race it again. Congratulations. Second win for Matt Kenseth. Doc?
Jamie, it came down to 2 drivers in 1 race and 1 championship. Jeff Gordon drove as hard as he could drive today. He will finish 4th in this race, 2nd in the championship points. And there's the guy who becomes the champion again in 2007. Jimmie Johnson, 2 in a row in championship. We'll come back to capture the stories and the emotion in just a moment. Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, let the celebration begin for Jimmie Johnson and the Hendrick Motorsports team. They're the Lowe's team, Chad Knaus and company, as they have won back-to-back Cup Series championships. Let's go down where Dave Burns is caught up with Jeff Gordon.
Tonight's 4th place finisher, but wishing it could have been so much more for you, Jeff. How difficult was it to try and make up all the ground you could tonight?
Well, we knew it wasn't about tonight. I mean, had we performed the last 4 weeks like we did tonight, it might be a different outcome. You know, when those guys stepped up and got themselves in a position to win races, we just didn't have the car, didn't have the whole combination together at the right timing, and unfortunately we got behind and came in here with an 86-point deficit. And you know, it's hard to close up on Jimmy and those guys. You know, they did a great job. You know, it's a bittersweet thing for me because we had one of the most awesome years that we've ever had. I mean, the top 5s, the top 10s. I mean, what more can you do than what we did? And yet we got beat. And you know, I'm very proud and excited for Jimmy and Chad, all the guys in that Lowe's Chevrolet, and Rick Hendrick to bring home another championship, to be 1-2 in the points. I mean, it's an awesome year. But you know what? We wanted to be the champions, and we got beat. So it's going to make us hungry over the offseason, I can tell you that. But I couldn't be more proud of Steve Letarte, all the guys in our DuPont Chevrolet, the effort they put in all year long. And I got to thank the fans, man. They've been so supportive, you know, to go for that 5th championship this year. To have all my fans all over the country, you know, just pushing us, saying you can do it, you can get it done, meant the world to me. I hate we didn't get it done for them. Let's go get them next year.
Jeff, if you could, I want you to play out just a little bit the commentary on the competitiveness in this chase. This finish will give you an average finish of under 5 for the chase, and yet the 48 team with the same cars under the same roof and a lot of friendship and notes shared, frankly, between you two went out and beat you. Does that make it tough?
It does. You know what? I mean, they've got basically the same cars, same equipment. We do a little bit of things different because Jimmy drives a little bit different. But you know what? I feel like we probably should have got a little more aggressive sooner. Our thing all year long was that we were consistently in the top 5, you know, and we'd sneak those wins in there when we could. Jimmy and Chad and those guys are a little more aggressive. They're a little bit faster at times, but you know, it seemed like some things, you know, they got caught up in some things when they did that. We were kind of banking that maybe that would be the case if we put those average finishes together. So looking back on it, you know, we should have got more aggressive. Tonight was one of the more aggressive setups that we've had in this car in a long time, and it was one of the best cars we've had in a while. So you know what, you can always do it better, and we'll go back and look at everything that we can do for the future. Whole new ball game next year with the Impala, the car tomorrow, and you know, I'm looking forward to some off time, spend some time with Ingrid and Ella and the family, and Thanksgiving with my family, and then we're going to go to work in January and get after it.
Congratulations on a great season, Jeff. That's the 4-time champion, Doc.
And he set a modern era record with 30 top 10 finishes. What an effort for Jeff Gordon. And how about this guy, Jimmie Johnson, back-to-back. I mean, unbelievable season for Jimmie Johnson. And the flag is in the cars. He does the donuts and the celebrations, and he did what he had to do. 4 consecutive wins in a row coming into here with an 86-point lead, and he will win this title by 77 points, by the way, the largest margin in the 4-year history of the chase.
You know, he can finally breathe now. He told me this morning, man, Rusty, I just want to breathe. I'm so tense. And now he can do it. So much pressure, but so much joy now.
Jimmy pulls up in front of the championship stage, and finally his wife comes over to give him a big hug. And let's go down to Alan Bestwick in the championship ceremony.
Here he comes, the champion. his wife, Shandy. Congratulations, the champion again. Last year when you got out of the car, yeah, set that down. It's probably a little heavy after a 400-mile race. Last year when you got out of the car, you said, I'm not even sure I know what to say. You've been through that experience once. You're the champion. Your thoughts?
You know, last year was just an amazing season and such an honor to be the Nextel Cup champion. And to come back this year and not lose anything over the offseason, for my guys to work as hard as they have, to give me this opportunity to win the championship again, I can't thank them enough. I'm just so proud of this race team. I mean, we work very hard to be where we are, and I can't thank these guys enough for their hard work and dedication. I can't thank NASCAR enough, Nextel, and first and foremost, Lowe's and all their employee owners for everything they do for us. It's just, it's such a special time for me. I can't believe everything, all the success that I've been able to experience. I've been so blessed, and it's just awesome stuff.
I see that smile. Just wanted to break out really big. The race tonight, you were up front for a while, then you got mired back in traffic a little bit. Was this a nerve-wracking race, or did you have more than you were using?
There's probably a little bit more, but I don't think I had anything to win the race tonight. There's a couple times where we took 4 tires where some guys took 2. We got trapped down a lap, which wasn't any fun, but we were able to get a quick caution right away and get back going again. So, you know, just a long night, but I have to say, after what I experienced last year coming into this season and even this night, it just went so much smoother for me. I was in the right frame of mind, could focus on the right things. Had the great support from these crew guys, great support from my loving wife, and everything came together. We're rocking.
4 wins in this championship in the last 5 races. How did this team get on such a roll?
We're not really sure, but we don't really care either. We're just happy it happened. It's just been an unbelievable roll. These races are always good for us at the end. We stayed focused on the right things and got the job done. And you know, I can't go without also thanking Jeff Gordon for his, you know, the time that he spent researching me, looking into me as a driver, being a great friend and a great teammate. And I think everybody saw the relationship play out through the chase. He's just an awesome guy. I got to thank Rick Hendrick as well for believing in me. And even Ricky Hendrick, he's not here with us any longer, but I know he did a lot behind the scenes for me with his dad.
I want to talk about racing, your teammates, people that work in the same building your guys do, prepare the same cars that you do. You guys talked all through, you were asked a lot of questions about how difficult that was. Now tell us, how difficult was it racing those guys you look at every day right next door?
You know, it was difficult, but we knew what we were up against, and we were up against the best in the business. And to have a heads-up race like this against those guys, it's everything we dreamt of having in that 24-48 shop. And we got it. We finished 1-2 in points. I know Mr. Hendrick smiling ear to ear. And you know, we did all that we could as the 24-48 shop could. It just was, you know, the 48's year this year, and hopefully we come back next year and can do it again.
Back-to-back championships. It's okay if you want to scream.
It's crazy. I don't even know what to think. It's crazy, and this man right here is the reason why.
Here's the team owner, Rick Hendrick, his wife Linda behind him as well. Mr. Hendrick, you know we're not going to let you get away without a question. Your 7th championship at this division, which is something incredible. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, you always hope that you can win one of these things, and I'm so proud of these guys. They've worked hard, and what an unbelievable year he's had. And Jeff, I'm just so proud of Jimmy and his team. And you know, to get back to back, it's hard to do in this sport. So we're excited, and hopefully we can carry this momentum into next year.
How difficult was this for you to have 2 of your drivers going head-to-head for this title?
This is really tough. I mean, you know, they work so hard. They work together. We share information, and you think it's going to happen. It could happen. That's what you want to see, it come down like this to the 2 cars. But man, it is tough, because it's like having a state championship in baseball, and you got one kid pitching and one batting, and somebody's got to lose, and it's a tough deal.
You came very close to getting very wet there, but they missed you. My last question for you would be, what does the owner get out of winning? What does the owner get out of a championship? You're not behind the wheel. You're the man pulling all the strings in the business sense of the things, but what's the payoff for you?
Well, you know, when you see guys like Chad Knaus that started just, you know, doing body work on the 2014, that come up through the ranks and become a crew chief. I remember Jimmy when he was 16 years old and we ran a late model car, and then to watch him become a champion, just to be a part of it, to see Jeff Gordon when he started, Kyle, Casey, and all the guys that helped along the way, to just see Stevie and those guys just blossom and become one of the best in the sport. And you think back to the day when they were just working in the shop cleaning up, and it makes you awful proud. So I'm just really excited about being a part of it, and they deserve it. They worked hard a lot of years, and this is the kind of the fruits of all that labor.
Congratulations, Mr. Hendrick. Congratulations, Jimmy. Chad, we talked to just a minute ago. Congratulations. There's going to be a big check and a trophy presented to these guys formally in just a little while, Doc.
Alvin, the last time two teammates finished 1-2 in the championship, they were also Hendrick cars. 1996, when Terry Labonte beat Jeff Gordon for the championship. And again, the Hendrick teams do it 1-2. What an effort for Rick Hendrick. You can see it's all about family. You saw Casey Mears in hugging there. Jeff, all the guys up there just celebrating a championship. Back-to-back wins. There is the NASCAR Nextel Cup that goes to Jimmy Johnson and the Lowe's team for the second year in a row. What a performance here down the stretch in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Back with more from Homestead-Miami after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Coming up, the biggest music stars on the planet come together with live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. For the first time ever, your votes will decide who wins. Hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and broadcast live from the Nokia Theater, LA. It's the American Music Awards live tonight, coming up following our coverage here at Homestead-Miami on ABC. Championship celebration ongoing, and here is winner's circle, victory lane, Matt Kenseth. But what a performance down the stretch for Kenseth. 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, including the win here. And Kenseth moves from 12th in the chase, early in the chase, all the way up to finish in the 4th position. He gains a couple of spots. How about the big gain by the 2 car for Kurt Busch, the only Dodge in the chase, up 3 positions. He finishes 7th overall in the points. Mike Massaro.
And Kurt Busch ends his 2007 campaign with a solid second-place effort. How would you assess your night?
It was a good night. We had a bad pit stop and a loose wheel, and we had to fight back from that. But luckily, we caught a nice break that jumped us up into the top 10, and we ran hard. And we ran strong. It feels good that we were able to do that at this point in the season, to jump up a few spots and points. That's a feather in the cap for this crew and this team. So Miller Lite, they're happy about us making the chase. We want to do a little better, and we did great for Dodge this year, and I'm real happy that we got what we did out of tonight and this season. So I'd call it a success with the 2 team.
Loose wheel, obviously a bit of a setback, but you guys did a tremendous job keeping up with this racetrack. How difficult of a challenge was that tonight?
Yeah, we had been losing track of the track, midway through the race, getting real loose and just trying to make big adjustments. And when you're trying to tighten up a car, it just makes it a little slow to start. And at least we made Kenseth earn his win today. That was great to race with him. And, we just got beat all year by the Hendrick cars, time in and time out. So they deserve to finish up where they did.
With the season now in your rearview mirror, give me some perspective on how you thought 2007 went.
This was a great season for me to fit in with Penske and this team, to be able to bring Miller to the chase and to be the only Dodge in the chase. We felt like that was a big success. And so we'll look back on this year as a good transitional year, and hopefully this will propel us into some success in 2008. We're excited. We can't get ready to go.
You've been here before. You've hoisted the championship trophy and celebrated here in Homestead. When you look at what Hendrick Motorsports accomplished this year, the 48 and 24 in particular, what were your thoughts on the way this championship played out with those 2 guys?
I felt like they had an advantage with the COT. The team that jumped on it right away was going to be tough to beat, and they had that. And so that's what our team has to do better, is figure out the COT and work at finishing consistent. Both Jimmy and Jeff posted some top 10s that were phenomenal. I think they only finished out of the top 10 a handful of times. It's tough to beat that type of dominance.
reminded me of Gordon's season back in 1998 when he dominated, and then to see Jimmy win all these races here at the end. He's the outright champion back-to-back. Congratulations to those guys. And Mr. Hendrick, he's got it going on, and maybe Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. He's got that team. He can put it together.
Congratulations on another very solid season.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Kurt Busch bringing it home second here in Homestead.
Yeah, very nice job for Kurt Busch, finishing second in the race, finishing 7th in the point standings. When we return, we'll go back to the championship stage for some very special presentations. Jimmy Johnson and the Lowe's team, back-to-back NASCAR Nextel Cup champions. Big hug from the family there. Jimmy Johnson giving his dad, his family, a big hug, and it's all about family here and how much the support he had growing up as a youngster in El Cajon, California. 32 years of age this year, but the dream began many, many years ago. And in 2007, a series leading 10 wins, 4 consecutive wins down the stretch in the chase. And for the second consecutive year, he becomes the champion in just his 6th full season. Let's go back down to the championship stage and Alan Bestwick.
Dr. Punch, thank you. Gathered around with the Hendrick Motorsports team, Jimmy Johnson, Rick Hendrick, Chad Knaus, and their cast of hundreds. And time now for the formal presentation of the Nextel Cup Championship Trophy. I introduce the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NASCAR, Mr. Brian France.
Thank you, Alan. On behalf of the best fans in sports, not only here in South Florida, but all over the country, are NASCAR fans, and they witnessed a dominant performance, maybe as dominant as we've seen in the modern era. Jimmy is a great champion now. He'll remain a great champion for 08. Jimmy, we're real proud of you. Let me get this trophy to you right now.
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to step across here just for a second, Jimmy, because we're on a short microphone cord, and introduce Tim Kelly, the Chief Marketing Officer from Sprint Nextel, who has a rather large check for you.
I do. Jimmy, congratulations. Congratulations to Rick Hendrick and the Lowe's team. Back-to-back championships. Absolutely amazing. Everyone at Sprint Nextel is so happy to have you as the champion of our series, and I'd like to present you with a check for $6.7 million.
And Mr. Kelly has one more presentation because there's someone else here that's going to get a rather large check because Jimmy Johnson won this championship.
We have more money to give away, Jimmy, and you'll be happy to know that Terry Randall of Las Vegas, Nevada, selected you as her driver in the Sprint Speed Millions contest. And today, Terry's with us, and she's receiving a check for $1 million. Come
on out here, Terry. Let me step back here. That will make your day happy. So Jimmy Johnson is the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion for 2007. Congratulations to the whole Hendrick Motorsports team here on the stage. Doc?
Thank you very much, Alan Bestwick, and congratulations to Teresa Randall, the Sprint Million winner from Las Vegas, Nevada. What a great place to go back to with $1 million extra bucks in your pocket. How about Jimmy Johnson? $6,740,800 on top of all he's already won here thus far. Back in a moment.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Ford 400 on ABC. Brought to you by the new 2008 Focus. Zales, the perfect gift at Zales, the Diamond Store. And Shell, made to move.
Championship celebration continuing, Homestead-Miami Speedway, and Jimmy Johnson and this crew have done it, and as they raise the flag as Jimmy Johnson, the official 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion, 2 years in a row. How about we go down and visit with a very proud papa, Alan Bestwick.
Well, up here in the middle of the crowd on the stage is Jimmy Johnson's father, Gary. What's this like for a dad? I know I watch my sons do things that make me so proud. What's this like for you?
Well, it's just amazing because watching it on TV, when Jimmy was a little kid, and watching like Dale Jarrett and his dad announcing at the Daytona win with Ned crying, I was crying. And now, to be here and winning Jimmy winning 2 championships, I don't know, I'm still pinching myself.
When he got started racing, you were the one fixing the motorbikes and that kind of thing, helping him develop his love of motorsports. Did you ever think that love would be something the two of you would share for this long in your lives?
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and I'm still pinching myself, like I said, because it just keeps going and going, and he keeps getting better and better, and through motorcycles, jet skis, everything, we raced everything, and for him, the career path he took to get here was very odd, because we raced everything, but we all did it as a family, and there's a lot of love, and just had a great time doing it.
Where did you watch the race from, and how nerve-wracking was it?
I got Grandma with me here, so we watched it in the coach in the infield, and then we come back out here. It wasn't as nerve-wracking as last year, not quite as bad.
Congratulations to you. I hope you enjoy the championship and the success your son has had.
Thank you very much.
Grandma, congratulations to you too.
Thank you. We planned it this way.
There you go.
Grandmas always know best. Proud Gary Johnson, Jimmy's dad, down there celebrating, as with all the team. And a little bit ago, we saw Jimmy's teammate, Casey Mears, up there to congratulate everyone. And how about Jeff Gordon coming out to celebrate with the guy he chased all year long, his protege. And Jimmy talked about how this team would not be where it was if it wasn't for Jeff Gordon's unselfishness when the team started up, and how much input he has given this team to help them get up and running. Remember, it was in Jeff Gordon's 6th year, and as a driver, he won back-to-back titles. And this year, in Jimmy Johnson's 6th year, he indeed has won back-to-back titles. And Jeff Gordon going to come out and celebrate with Jimmy Johnson and the crew with what a great championship season they have had. All the way back out from the garage area, you see him headed back up there toward the stage. I'm sure he wants to go out and be able to give Rick Hendrick and Jimmy. I mean, this is a team that shared so much throughout the year, on and off the racetrack. Yesterday in the garage area, Jimmy Johnson was talking about, I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for Jeff Gordon.
Jeff really believed in him, put his heart and soul into him. They share everything. They've taught each other a whole lot. Jeff's been a big part of this championship with Jimmy Johnson.
Jeff congratulating Chad Canals, and you can see the sincerity and the big smile. And when you got a 4-time Cup champion coming up to say, yeah, you guys did a great job, that's got to make you awfully proud.
Well, it just so it goes to show you how much of a team they are. Andy, it's just a great feeling for Chad Canals and everybody.
This is great for Chad winning back-to-back. I know the sense of pride he's got for this race team.
Let's go down to Alan Bestwick.
You know, Doc, there was a point earlier this season where Chad Canals was not able to come to the racetrack. He was under suspension from NASCAR, and Ron Malik filled in as the crew chief. He had a big hand in this championship. He's been with Jimmy Johnson through his entire oval track racing career. What's this like for you to be part of your best friend winning 2 straight championships?
I mean, this is one of the biggest accomplishments in both of our lives, and I mean, I just hope it just keeps going on strong. I'm just going to stick with Jimmy. You know, he hasn't done me wrong in my career yet, and he's a great person to work for, and obviously a pretty damn good driver.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What's the one thing about Jimmy that a best friend would know that most people probably wouldn't know?
He's just really a genuine person. You know, his heart is in the team and in his racing, you know, and it's always been that way, and I think it'll always stay that way.
The races where you served as crew chief leading this team when Chad was absent, did you feel pressure? Was it not that big a deal because you've been with this team? How were those 6 races in hindsight?
There was some pressure there, you know, because it felt like I was, you know, the one with all the weight on my shoulders making the decisions, and it is a big responsibility, and I give a lot of, you know, respect for Chad for what he does every week, and especially in a situation like tonight, it's a lot of pressure there.
You're one of the guys that goes over the wall and services the car on pit stops, as well as one of the mainstays as far as leading the team. A championship to you. We see the driver, the big check comes out, the trophy. What's it mean to you to be a NASCAR Nextel Cup champion?
It's huge. You know, our whole team, our whole organization at Hendrick Motorsports, I mean, we all work together as one, and I mean, for us to win 2 championships in a row in this sport is pretty incredible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Ron Malik. He was the crew chief when Chad Canals was absent. He's one of Jimmy's best friends, and he as well is a back-to-back Nextel Cup champion, Doc.
Indeed, and what shows you the depth and the strength of this Hendrick Motorsports team is now Jeff Gordon up to be able to congratulate some of the people that are a part of the Hendrick organization that he has been a part of for so long. Now, we saw Casey Mears earlier run up to the stage and give Jimmy Johnson a big hug and congratulations, and now Mike Massaro has caught up with Jimmy Johnson's teammate.
And Casey Mears brings it home 16th tonight. How would you assess the evening?
We had a long night, we did, but you know, I'm so proud of what Jimmy and Chad and all those guys on the 48 Lowe's team have accomplished this year. Hendrick Motorsports is just a great place to be. We got caught up a little bit this year and didn't get exactly what we wanted, and didn't have the run tonight for sure that we wanted for the National Guard and GMAC. But again, I'm just so excited for what Jimmy and those guys have accomplished. It's unbelievable.
As outsiders, we have a certain perspective of how this whole thing went, the whole dynamic between Jimmy and Jeff, but you're close to these guys, you're friends with them. What was it like for you watching them battle for this championship over the last month and a half?
I mean, they're both very competitive guys, obviously driven, they want to win, and you know, fortunately, I guess for Jimmy, things went his direction, and they were just unstoppable, really. I mean, the races that they had at the end of the year and the races that he won, I think tonight, you know, he was being conservative, and to run where they were, to run conservatively is unbelievable. So, I mean, it was definitely his year. Jeff put on such a good run, you know, towards the middle of the season leading up to the chase, and in the chase had an unbelievable run. I mean, if it would have been any other year, Jeff probably would have won the championship. Just Jimmy had that much of a better year. So, I mean, the 24 team didn't do anything wrong. It's just the 48 team did it just a little bit better, and it was their year. I'm sure Jeff is definitely going to want to come back and get one again.
And of course, being a teammate, you've got to be able to take some of these fringe benefits. How does the level of competition that they've achieved affect the rest of the teams in the Hendrick camp?
Well, I think that obviously the success is there. You know, the equipment's there, the people are there. It's all the right stuff. Obviously, we struggled this year with kind of a new deal and getting up and running. But what I'm so excited about is obviously the performance they put in this year. We're going to be able to assess what they've done, really kind of dig our heels in for next season and be ready to go.
Congratulations on a great season.
All right, thank you.
Casey Mears finishes 16th tonight.
And moves up to 15th in the final point standings. Championship celebration ongoing. Jimmy Johnson over $15.8 million in earnings in 2007. Back with more in a moment. Coming up next, the American Music Awards live from the Nokia Theater LA. Live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and much more. And guys, former champions in your own right, how would you put it into perspective, the kind of performance we saw this year for Jimmy Johnson and his whole team?
Doc, I've never seen domination like this in a long, long time. Johnson, this guy is for real. He's here to stay, and he's going to be proud because this man's amazing.
And it moves Chad Knaus up a notch in my book. He's a great crew chief, and what a great night for Robbie Reiser, his last race with Matt Kenseth.
And Brett Musburger, this may go down as one of the all-time most dominant performances in Nextel Cup history. Jimmy Johnson back-to-back championships.
Yeah, exactly, Dr. Jerry Punch. You know, the NASCAR season, ladies and gentlemen, is a marathon. And I want to congratulate all the announcers and a wonderful group of technicians here at ESPN who, for that 36 period of time, have brought you this amazing coverage. And I want to also remind you that coming up next on ABC, except on the West Coast, the American Music Awards over most of these ABC stations. Well, congratulations to our race winner here today, Matt Kenseth. He led for more than 200 miles this afternoon. He was dominant coming down the stretch, and what a way to finish. And then, of course, our Nextel Cup champion, back-to-back champions, if you will, because he came home with the flag again. Jimmy Johnson with Chad Knaus and that wonderful group of people up there in the pits.